Hey, John.
What is going on, Tammy?
Good. I don't know why do I almost want to say good morning? I don't know where my head is at. Good evening.
Good evening.
I think it's because it's still light out at 7 o'clock, which
Oh yeah.
I'm used to.
Mm-hmm.
Danielle's here, which means she made it home safely.
Yes. You know, I had gifts for you today.
Oh, now I feel even worse.
That's okay. We will deliver those gifts another time, or I will send them to you. One or the other.
Spaz. It was just a long week. I forgot to reply to some messages.
It's all good. No worries. I know you have other things to, concern yourself with these days. So don't worry about that at all.
But I was looking at all your Instagram posts today.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's obvious that you lost a lot of weight. You're like a teeny tiny version of yourself.
You know what I'm saying? I'm slim and trim. I think I look like Jasmine's brother now.
You can see it. You can see it in your face. You can see it in your neck.
Wait. Just stop right there.
We were having a moment.
You know what I mean?
Stop the moment.
You know what I mean, Danielle? I think I shed it off like 25 years or something.
Oh my God.
I'm in my 30s now, I think.
Keep going. Erica just joined, so keep going.
Okay, let me stop because
you're a younger man.
I'm gonna stop because she gonna talk against these scenarios I'm throwing out. Let me just let that go. Mm-hmm. She gonna blow up the chat with talking about lies or something. Let me leave that alone.
And the gifts are so incredible. The only reason I haven't posted, I took pictures. The only reason I haven't posted them yet was because Tammy didn't get hers.
Oh, okay.
But now that you told her, I'm gonna post them.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I love them.
Oh yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna send Tammy hers. I am a spaz, and I can't make up my mind if Erica isn't around. So when I was trying to figure it out, I was looking at one in one hand and the other in the other, and I couldn't figure it out. So I just bought both. So that's why you got two.
I love them both. I love them both. So.
All right, cool. Anyway, I guess we can get started now. Unless you guys have anything else beforehand.
Don't forget to tell people where to find you. You can start, but...
Okay. Yeah, I always forget that part. Okay. So we can get going. This is our weekly wellness check. We get together every week. We just kind of talk fitness, talk Peloton a lot, talk about connected fitness, talk about our lives a little bit sometimes, talk about what we did during the week, what we didn't do during the week, yada, yada, yada. All that stuff. It's loose. It's meant to be loose conversation. It's not meant to be anything stressful. I always say it's the weekend. I really don't want to be stressed out. So, and I know you guys don't either. So it's not about anything like that. It's just loose conversation. If you want to join the conversation, please hit the hand in the lower right of your phone. We'll bring you right up on stage and you can join with us. We just chit-chatted away. If you don't want to do that, don't stress at all. Just hang out in the audience, just listen, just chill out, go in the chat, talk some mess, some smack, I'm going to try to get in the chat and talk some smack. Just do that, All right. So, where to find us?
And you already forgot.
Yeah, I already forgot.
You already forgot to announce the group.
See, I already forgot.
I just want to put out there that we love to hear what everyone has to say, but we can't have 10-minute monologues. Like, sorry, people, we love you, but you can't talk for 10 minutes. We want to be able to hear everyone who has something to say. So come up to the stage, say what you got to say, get it out there so we can all comment and enjoy, your commentary. But let's not go for 10 minutes.
I got you.
I think that was an attack on your agenda.
That's what that was.
What I heard.
She trying to say something about my agenda. Yeah, that's all right. I got you. So
I'm not even talking. That agenda doesn't even exist. You know my hashtag. We don't need no stinking agenda.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. So
now tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, the group is on Facebook. It's Run, Lift, and Live. There's a page as well, so you can follow that if you like. Within the group, we tend to talk during the week about these same topics that we're going to talk about here today. So it's kind of, it stages this conversation. So if you'd like, go look for Run, Lift, and Live. It's the same name as you see in this club at the top of your screen in this particular club on Clubhouse. Look for that on Facebook. Join that group, and then you can be a part of the weekly, the conversation that just extends throughout the week leading up to Saturday. Yeah, so cool. Hey, before let me jump into that, Sonia's up here. What's going on, Sonia? How's it going?
It's going well. How are you guys?
Doing good, doing good.
Good. No, I just wanted to say I absolutely love this group and what you guys have achieved so far. I just had to say that. And I'm excited to see where this leads you all. And also how happy I am that Erica has finally joined.
You know what I'm saying? Now I got to watch what I say. You know?
Yeah, okay. That's it.
This is the Mill Saturday night family outing.
You know what I mean?
Plus Danielle and myself.
That's right. And if I say anything too crazy.
Me too, because my last name is Mills.
That's right. That's right. And I got to be careful because, you know, if I say something too crazy, it'll turn into the Mills family brawl after this is over. So I got to be careful. You know?
Okay.
So first topic on the agenda. You know, okay. So when I first entered the Peloton community, the Facebook group was small. I don't remember what the numbers were at the time. I'm making it all up. Maybe it was 8,000 people. I don't know. And, you know, now it's, you know, hundreds of thousands. It's nuts. But back then it felt a little more quaint, and I felt like people were just helping each other with technical issues or bike issues or fit issues or product issues, shoes. You know, it just felt like very casual, loose, nothing stressful. Nobody was razzing on anybody. It didn't feel like that existed. So cut to like a year or two after we joined. So now you're into 2017, 2018. It started to feel like it was like devolving into like something that was a little more risky to post within, right? But I was still heavy in defense of the official Peloton member page. I was like, nah, it ain't that bad. Nah, you got to go out there and just, you know, do your thing. You know, the right people will comment. And I did that for a year or so. But then, and while I was doing that, I just kept hearing all of this dialogue about how toxic and more toxic the official Peloton member page was getting. Then in 2019, I saw JV Nava, who used to manage that, you know, managed community. I think she may still do that. And I remember she was interviewed in some article, and she was posing a question of one of her struggles to the interviewer about she's, you know, trying to find how best to manage to like these groups on social media and what she should and should not allow, how she should manage to those groups. With a light bulb went off on my head. It was like, oh, wait a minute. Everybody's making these complaints, but now behind the scene, internally, it looked like Peloton was struggling with the concept of what they should and should not allow based on that statement she made. Cut to, you know, last year, this year, I finally just kind of conformed with what everybody else is saying. I'm like, yeah, I don't know how much I want to be hanging out in the official Peloton member page. It feels like it's too chaotic, and there's too much intent around negativity. So I've kind of backed up. So I now want to like hear what other people think about it. Did I finally just come to my senses, or are there other people out there that just love it?
I think that the other communities just kind of grew into themselves. So instead of going to that large, you know, group that now has a bad rep, if I have a question about my piece of equipment or something, I'm going to post it in your group because I know that, you know, it's a welcoming community and nobody's going to say, oh, why didn't you search for your answer? Use the search bar, go do this, go do that. So I think people are using their other, you know, newly found groups or their instructor groups or other like-minded groups for their Peloton support.
Right. Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think that is what is happening. But do you think that in that occurring, that it is like it has made it more distinct that who's left asking those types of questions in the official Peloton member page now tend to be more cynics and folks looking to attack? Has it like eliminated so many of those people that are just like in there with a better purpose, that now it's now confined to like a very, you know, specific audience of people looking at things negatively? Do you think that has occurred? Does that make sense?
Hey, John, this is Sheldon. How are you?
Good. How's it going, Sheldon?
Good. It's funny because, as part of my connected fitness stuff, I like to look at all these different pages. I'm not, I write echelon stuff, a much smaller group, right? I think it's just a tendency to self-correct up to a certain size.
Yeah.
And then as a group gets bigger and too big, you can't self-correct.
Yeah.
You just start to get you get overwhelmed by the trolls.
Right.
It's like the troll army infiltrates, and you just can't stop them.
I had two things I want to go over with you.
Somebody we hear there. Hold on, I'll mute them.
No worries. No worries. I was like, jump on in. I just think the troll army just get too big. Once the group size gets, then you tend to break off to smaller groups. That's just I've observed that from smaller groups, and then you see it happen in every time a group gets to a certain size.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I have some other thoughts on that, but I want to make sure that Jessica and Shelly get in. I want to ask you some questions about that, Sheldon. So, hey, Jessica, how's it going?
It's going good. Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Just on a side note, I don't want to forget Alex on his ride today.
Yeah.
He said that the very first group of people that will come into the studios when it opens, he's going to take everybody and go out into the front of the building and do the electric slide.
Okay, I'm with that. I mean, I have to remember the electric slide, but I'm with that. Okay.
Yeah, we have to hold him to it.
Yeah, we gotta hold.
I don't think I really know the electric slide, so I guess I'll be in the second group of people that comes into the studio.
I forget all those dances. Don't they have the slide, and then they have the shuffle, and then they got that biker shuffle, and they got 800,000 versions of this stuff now. I don't remember all. I don't know all of them.
Not to mention, I'm not coordinated, so
right. Yeah.
I'm always
you can do the electric slide. You could do a Saturday 60. You could do the electric slide.
Listen, I always say, how they say that a stereotype that all black people have rhythm?
Yeah.
I'm like, just watch me on a dance floor and I can break it for you in 2 seconds. I have zero rhythm. So the electric slide is kind of not in my wheelhouse.
Yes, that's
I'll be in a second group.
Yeah, that's me too. I used to claim that I have rhythm. That went away. If I had some, that went away like 25 years ago. It don't exist anymore. I don't know. Well, anyway, hey, go ahead, Jessica.
Oh, I was just gonna say real quick about the official member page. I left. I don't know, a couple years ago. I didn't leave. I just did the unfollow, so I don't get any notifications.
Yeah.
And so I only just go in there every once in a while if I hear something is going on, or if I want to try and find the feature Friday.
Right.
And speaking of that, I noticed that they do it in a poll format. I don't know who picks the first few. Or some, I don't know. I guess it's all done by I don't know how they start it.
I'm not a big fan of that. I don't know if it helps them at all, but it's weird, right? It's like, so each person that's putting in a suggestion, is the expectation that they're going to scroll through all these poll add-ons to then just upvote theirs? And how many people are really doing that? Like, I don't know. I don't know.
It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, it seems kind of odd to me.
And there was 197 different ones.
Oh, that's less than I would have expected.
I don't know whether whether it's easy for them in some way, but I thought that was weird. And then one other thing, they do a topic post, and they have you seen that?
No.
They ask a question. I can't remember what it was when I saw it. I don't know how often they do it, but I was just kind of surprised to see to see stuff like that, because I mean, who, if they're there, oh my gosh, they're posting. It's like, who is monitoring the group? Because obviously it's not being monitored very well at all.
Yeah, that point gets to the question I want to ask Sheldon in a second, but
okay, yeah,
that's a good point that you just brought up. That I want to dive into. Hey, Shelly, how's it going? You there, Shelly? You put yourself on mute.
Wait a second. Hey, can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm. I hear you.
Thinking about the original page makes me miss Godnick.
Yeah.
Because he had always the best answers on that page.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was the thing. It's like how we would bring some humor to some of the things they would say, and he would bring the humor under the post, and he would take that humor relative to what they said, and he would put it in his own page or in other places. And I thought that was helpful to kind of lighten it a little bit for us. But I don't think it changed it. Like it was still. It was still like kind of, going downhill. Howie was always very kind to me. I ran into him a few times at HRI, and then when it transferred into Homecoming, and we had a chat in each of those circumstances, and I ran into him at the studio all the time. So, I was I was somewhat of a fan of Howie and him as a person. I mean, it really didn't have a whole lot to do with Peloton or the bike or anyone else. It was really specific to him. So, and that's me in general. Like I'm very deep into just relationships, and that's gotten deeper since the passing of my mom last year. It's really. All this other stuff is fun and games and everything, but in the end, for me, it's all about people and energy and what people walk away from interactions with. Like that's about it. And when I never had an interaction with Howie where I walked away with anything other than feeling good. So to me, that's a testament, right?
Exactly, and that's the one amazing thing about this community, because. Who would have thought that when you bought a bike to exercise in your home, you would meet such amazing people and then meet them in real life?
Right. But let me get back. Before I forget my question, my memory is not all that great. It never was, but it's gotten worse. So before I forget this question, to Sheldon and Jessica, and that is, I hear what you're saying, Sheldon, about how with mass and more people, and as it evolves, it just becomes more and more difficult to contain and control that. And then it sounds like you're saying what we're seeing from an official Peloton member page perspective is just kind of standard evolution. It just is what it is. And so then my question becomes, to JV Nava's question in that article, which I'll find it and post it in the group so you guys can see it as well, where she, as being one of the folks administering this group, is asking the same question. She's like, where are the lines? What should we allow, not allow? How should we manage to that? So I'm not sure if it's just a dilemma that, groups, companies, whoever have groups like this don't have an answer to, or is it more specific to Peloton that they're struggling to find an answer to it?
Yeah, I think it's a very good question, John. I think there's so many different ways you can play this. And honestly, no matter how you play it, someone's going to be ticked.
Right.
At Echelon, it's a much smaller group. It's still a big group. They definitely screen the posts.
Right.
And so you don't see a ton of negative stuff up there. You just don't.
Right.
Now, again, you still get the questions that will be, hey, at the beginning of the year, it's like, hey, I need new shoes. What should I get for shoes? Okay, it's shoe season, everyone. Guess what? New riders, Christmas time, all that stuff.
Right.
And so there's some snarky comments, but it tends to self-correct. But they are probably, I think, a little more tight on what they release. And then you see, like, iFit, it's even worse than the Peloton page. It's a shit show.
Really?
With this magnet thing. Oh my God!
Oh, wait a minute! I saw that. You're right. I saw
it. It melted down. People lost their crap. It really did. It was a meltdown, and so that was much worse. Hydros is very kind. It's very kind.
Wow.
Maybe it's just because they're all rowing out of the water. They're happy people. I don't know, but and then Peloton seems to let anything through. I mean, I don't see a lot of filtering happening. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but it's like. They post some pretty harsh stuff on that page. Like as a starting comment, it's not just the comments. You get some like OP posts that are pretty crass. And so I think it's where do you want to crank it down? But then Echelon gets criticized for being like too,
like as if it's like censorship, right?
Machine. Yeah. Right. You don't get the truth. So that's when they go to the side pages and have their other talk. So again, I think it's like how hard you want to crank that valve, and what's the result going to lead to?
Well, then maybe there's validity into what JV and their team are struggling with. Like they're just they're struggling with where do they fall in that in that spectrum. Like where do they put their line? Like I could hear it in the question she asked. Like they weren't sure where to draw that line. I see you in the chat, Jamal. And you said iFit people are going crazy. I saw that too, same as Sheldon. Like, I forgot I saw that, Sheldon. I saw that too within their group. People just losing their minds.
They melted down.
That they not going to get a magnet. A magnet.
It's magnets and metals. iFit, they switch they're hemorrhaging money. We all know that. Like you see it, right?
Yeah.
And they got a new CEO.
They can't be giving them out metals and magnets every time somebody gets 100 rides.
And they were giving out year memberships with every piece of equipment. And eventually, sometime you got to get paid. And so they said, hey, we're doing this great new thing. It's a virtual like a virtual trophy case, essentially. And all the little, quote, digital magnets and digital metals go there.
Right.
We aren't doing the physical ones, and people lost it.
Yeah, that's actually on the agenda. We might as well, talk about it now that we're on this. So,
hey John, could I? Sorry.
Go ahead, Dan.
On the subject either now or later.
No, absolutely. Jump in, Dan. How's it going?
Okay. Hey guys, how are guys and ladies? As I always report in the report card, 3 or 4 guys and 60 women. And I just always report in because of demographics from Peloton. But no business stuff. I think the subject's really interesting. First of all, thanks for sharing about your mom. Just love your vulnerability, authenticity. I lost both my parents and a few years ago, and I came into Peloton because of a really bad divorce. And I love the community. So thank you for sharing. Second of all, I've never really been on the Peloton page, and this is somebody here who's obviously on this call night who's really passionate about the community. I've never been on the page. Social media as a whole, I see all that kind of stuff just as draining. But where I get my sort of fix from is one, the Reddit page, which I think is great, and love the people there. It's tight, concise. There's never any drama. Second is this room, which is wonderful. Third is Homecoming, which I'll come back to. And fourth is the Peloton singles page for those of us who are single. I don't go on all that much, but it's fascinating when you go on there, and somebody who may be in this room, I don't know if she came in yet, had wrote me off there this week. So I met somebody, super nice off there. So those are sort of where I get my fix. And Homecoming, which I'm sure you'll have as an agenda item soon. Last year, it was a beautiful weekend in Boston, and I was like, I'll jump on this thing for a little while. And I was addicted and met 10 members a day, and it was incredible. And I think that just accelerated the obsessiveness on Peloton. But those are sort of my fixes. But anything about the page, I just sort of always wonder, these people have too much time on their hands. So that's kind of where I get my fixes from. Reddit, this room, Peloton singles occasionally, and I thought Homecoming was great. So just wanted to jump in on that. And thanks again for sharing everything going on with you personally.
Absolutely. So question for you, Dan. So I know when you buy a bike or you buy a tread, I know the part of that package, I don't know if it comes I think it comes in the email confirmation that they tell you about the official Peloton member page, if I remember correctly. They tell you, okay, go here, join our community. Are you saying you never did that, or are you saying you joined it, but then you let that go?
No. I never heard about it. I mean, from them. I mean, obviously know it exists out there. I came in, I've got my, personally pat myself on my back. I mean, I'm up to 100 and, I don't know, today was 100 and, I was afraid it was going to blow my streak, but I guess because I've been injured all week, but I'm at 166 weeks or something straight.
Oh, wow. That's nice.
I started in a gym and their bike, and then right around the pandemic bought my own. So I don't think that would really change anything because I was already in the community, so to speak. I don't know if I'm breaking up at all. So I never remember getting a welcome email or possibly. Yeah, I kind of skipped it. Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, I think you're breaking up a little bit, Dan. Is it just me, guys?
No, we're losing him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit, Dan.
All right, I'll come out and come back in.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and that's the interesting thing to me with regards to like the folks that come in, because I know they send that package out, and I'm it's interesting to me if people went in, learned what it was about, came out, or did they hear about it beforehand and just decide, well, I ain't gonna be a part of that. That's craziness. So I was just curious, Dan. It was just kind of a curious question of how that evolved for you. So anyways, I'm going to move on to the next topic. Actually, I'm going to skip all the way down to number 8 because we started talking about it already. I think it's like a good segue.
You mean we're not going to ask who took Reba McEntire? I was dying to know.
We're going to come back to that one. That's a dangerous topic for me.
Me too.
That's a dangerous topic. Every time I start talking about Reba, I get in trouble. So I'm going to come back.
That's what I'm saying.
That's dangerous.
Can we just consider it discussed? Check done.
Check done.
Check done.
Somebody took it somewhere.
Somebody took it So I know somebody in here took that ride. So I'm gonna ask somebody. But okay, I'll go to 8. Somebody took it. I'm gonna go to 8. So okay, so the iFit, we know iFit this week decided that they were gonna add digital badges. And so I saw the press release and everything, but it didn't talk. I don't think it talked. I'm not sure, but I don't remember it talking about eliminating anything. I think it just talked about.
It did, John. It did. In the FAQs, it said we're moving away from metals and magnets.
Gotcha. Okay. In the FAQs, I must have missed that. Okay. In the FAQs, are talking about we're moving away from it, and then I didn't specifically go to the iFit group and see this. Someone sent me an image of what was going on in the iFit group. And when I looked at that and saw like that, there was like chaos. You could see it in there. People were just losing their minds. And when they get their 100 ride, when they get to their 100 rides, no one's going to send them a medal. No one's going to send them a magnet for the 100 rides. They were losing it on that. And so then I started wondering, like, okay, not just the metal and the magnet. Okay, maybe there's some value to. I mean, I can at least throw that up on my refrigerator or something. Hang the metal on a corner cabinet as like something I could see. But just digital badges, are those really that big a deal? Like, are people really incentivized by the digital badges? Which is what it made me wonder.
My 10-year-old is, so I don't know what that says, but
there are people that chase that stuff, man. I mean,
really?
Pokemon Go's a thing, right? And it's like people chase it. And just a clarification, John, they still have the ride T-shirts and all that stuff at iFit. They didn't get rid of that. They're just getting rid of. They would do these events like, go run this 10K, you get this medal. Go do this marathon, you get this medal type thing or magnet. They still have their milestone stuff. They just get rid of the event stuff, and people lost it. It was pretty, like, people were rage quitting. Like, I'm leaving now, and they rage quit. And and then the other side of it was people were saying we're like just crushing the people that were rage quitting, and it was a back and forth. It was crazy to watch. But anyways, it's but people, a lot of people love the badges, and there are people that are completers. They like to complete things. They like to have all the little dots, like people with the dots on their page, right? It's like, I can have all the dots.
Yeah.
I gotta close my rings. It's the same concept.
Yeah.
Like people want the badge.
Yeah, I guess. No, I get that. I'm not trying to play that down. I get it. It doesn't incentivize me really. But I, yeah, it's cool. You go in and look at your profile, and it shows all the different closed dots of 100, 200, 500, 1,000, 1,200, whatever rides completed, or you did a turkey burn ride, and you go in and you say, oh, you did the turkey burn. But I might look at it that one day. I'm never looking at them badges ever again. So for me,
I'm the same way, John. 100%. I could care less.
Yeah, I don't know if it matters.
There's entire websites though, like dedicated to finding out which classes you can get which badges. So like, obviously, I mean, it's not my thing either, but it's somebody's thing because that website. I mean, everyone's going to it saying you could take this class back from 2019 to get the whatever flash finish badge or fall fitness. Like, I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends that are badges. They like to call themselves badge hoes.
Yeah.
Spelled with an X. And they are obsessed with getting like all the badges. So it's like, it's crazy. And I mean, I'm not that into them. If I get them when it happens, I'm like, oh, that's cool. I mean, I care about my milestones and stuff, but I don't really necessarily chase like all the artist series badges or
if there are lots of people like, and there must be many more people that are, I feel like we're probably the outlier, because there's got to be many more people that are that helps them in their journey, and they're incentivized by seeing that thing closed or seeing that thing on their screen within their profile. Clearly, it's got to be. The reason I don't know if I'm back, but I'm laughing because I've been listening to you all for X number of minutes, and I didn't know what you were talking about. I'm still not sure. Like, if you're talking about those things, like, you did Latin America week, or you rode with 6 friends, 20 friends in a swarm. Like, if that's it, yeah. And that's what people are talking about. I'm like, what? Right. Like that, like they just pop up, as someone just said. Like, people are trying to achieve those. They're more like annoying on my screen. That's crazy. I was like, are they really talking about those things? Oh yeah, they're a big deal. That's big. That's big stuff, Dan. And so the question in my mind now is, with iFit, they were giving out like a physical reward. Like, they were giving out a magnet or a medal. They're like sending it to your house. Like, they didn't have these digital things that pop up after your ride, or, you go to your profile and you see it. They were physically sending them something as their... The shirts are a big deal, but again, whoever said it, like, milestones, I still think, even riding, every week for 3 years, like, I'm coming up on X 100, and like, I'm really excited about that. Like, I'm a geek. Like, I'm planning my 800th ride to be like, okay, I'm doing it live. Will someone, do a call out? And I haven't been called out in 600 rides, 500 rides. I haven't been called out in ages. So I'm still a geek. I want to hear my name called out. Like, that to me is a big deal. The milestone of 800 is a big deal. But I'm like stunned that people like, go out of their way to get these badges. Everybody chooses their own thing, but I actually thought you were talking about something else. No. That's what we're talking about. Adia, I see you in the chat. You said, Adia, I see that people. I mean, I don't want to comment on anyone else's life, and what their, anybody's objectives and desires, but that's crazy. Adia, I see you in the chat. You said that's just like people collecting stamps. That's rough. I don't know if it's like that, but more value. I don't know if it's like that.
They got a sticker book.
But I don't know if it's like that, Adia. I don't know.
Like the scratch and smell stickers.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like that.
My 7-year-old's here. She's collecting all the frozen, this frozen stickers here. I got Anna. I got a whole book full of them. Wow. Maybe I need a Peloton sticker book. But again, my point was, if you were receiving something physically, like a magnet or a medal, and then if you had a mindset, not that mine is right or wrong, just, if you have a mindset like mine that a digital badge isn't really of value, and you've grown to this expectation of this physical reward, then I still think the iFit people that like left because of this probably went too far. But I guess I can kind of sympathize with them a little, I guess, right? Because like the digital thing, like, what's that?
I mean, I don't see leaving because you're no longer getting like a physical badge in the mail or something. Like, that's kind of crazy. That's like a bit over the top, but like I said, I am definitely a milestone person where I'm like obsessed with my milestones.
I'm feeling like
my rides are only done with Allie, and
I'm feeling like crazy. I'm feeling like we're of this mind that that the digital badge is not as valuable. And they clearly are to a lot of people. So I'm feeling like there's people out there right now, probably in this chat, that aren't speaking up because like it would feel like we're ganging up on them. There's got to be a lot of people that's valuable to them, right?
I would like to nominate Janetta be in charge of coming up with the badges, because that would be some shit.
No, we got to veto that out. We can't have Janetta coming up with the badges.
Yes. Like, Puta, you got up and took a shower. Good job. Here's your badge.
Okay, Puta got 100 rides. Yes, that'll be the badge. I don't know if we can have Janetta have the badge. You can't do the badges, Janetta. I'm sorry. You can't do the badge.
I want like they haven't showered in 4 days badge or something on the weekend.
I can, Janetta sent me a letter once, and I guess it's kind of like a badge, because I was complaining I wasn't getting any Amazon packages. Erica was getting all the Amazon packages, and then she was like, okay, motherfucker, here, see, I sent you something. So I feel like the badges would be like that. It would be like, okay, motherfucker, you got 100 rides here. I don't know if you can do the badges, Janetta. I'm sorry. We might have to veto that out. Oh, who's coming up? Let's see.
The fact that she sent you a letter in the mail because Erica was getting all the Amazon packages and you were getting nothing is the best thing ever. Literally the best thing ever.
That was my badge. She sent me that to make me feel better. She sent me that letter.
What's up, bitches?
What's going on, Janetta?
I love this girl so much.
Hey, Tammy, I was waiting for you, motherfucker. Where were you?
I heard that you weren't cooking, that you were going on strike this weekend. You weren't cooking any of your Dominican rice and your concon or whatever it's called, so I decided not to go.
No, I did cook yesterday. I made some chicken and rice and, plantain and avocado and all that stuff. I even sent Lily some food. She was doing.
Wait, so you invite me the day after you cook instead of the day you cook?
I'm sorry, this is not my house. I cannot be inviting everybody here.
I mean, Courtney loves me, so
yeah, Courtney loves you.
I haven't invited me.
She's right here. I need to take my phones, my earphones out, my whatever. The box, you see? Can't even speak anymore. Anyway, so yeah, I know Courtney loves you. Can you hear me?
Yep. Yeah, we hear you.
Well, I'm cutting off. I think you guys cutting off people. No, I'm kidding.
No one was cutting off yet. Don't tempt me.
Anyway, the badges, I'm done with them.
You done with them too?
Oh, long time ago. I stopped saying when my milestones are. I stopped announcing them. I don't tell anybody.
Yeah, see.
I'm sorry. Courtney's here listening, and she's like, "Yeah, I have a milestone tomorrow. It's her birthday. The official day is tomorrow, and she's doing it right with Jen."
What time is that right? What, 10 o'clock? What time is that right?
10 o'clock, bitches. Get up.
Okay, I'm gonna be on that ride. Now I gotta be on the ride. Okay, I'm gonna be on that ride.
Yeah. Me too. I haven't done a ride with Jen since like 2017. 2017. Yeah. I rode with her because it was good for my time in California, but I haven't done a ride with her in a long time.
Yeah, me either.
I might have to do it tomorrow or just cheer, Courtney here. So yeah. That's it. Okay, keep going. That's it.
Okay.
Courtney, just happen on a high five. That's it. I'm not taking a ride though.
Hey guys, Jen's ride is at 9:30.
9:30.
60 minutes. Is that Ali? I want it. No, listen, Courtney's an Ali. Fanatic.
Right.
Fanatic, yeah.
Right.
So Courtney, postpone your birthday until Ali comes back.
So now she has
her birthday until Ali comes back.
Yeah, no, but she's her birthday,
Right.
She has to ride tomorrow. So
I told her to postpone it until Ali comes back.
Postpone it.
Well, I'll be on with her. Tell her I'll be there 9:30, right?
9:30.
Okay, I'll be there. Okay.
She said good, John.
John, do you realize it's 60 minutes long?
Oh, Lord. Okay. But it's Courtney. It's Courtney. I'm gonna go ahead.
John, you hop on a high five with me.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I mean, it's Courtney. You know, I'm gonna go. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and bite the bullet. Do it. I'll be there. Hey. But wait a minute. See, my daughter, when she was in high school, or when my second daughter, second oldest, in high school, she ran track, and she had a friend. Her name was Adia. So when I see the spelling of your name down there, I say Adia, but I don't know how you spell it or pronounce it. Do I have it right?
That's okay. It's Adia.
It's Adia.
It's another pronunciation I've heard other people with my same name pronounce it that way.
Okay.
It's all good. I'll make it quick to the comment about the badges. Personally, I think for the physical badges, I was thinking one of the reasons there might be outrage, I don't know if I agree about leaving, except for a lot of people, they never played sports in high school. As someone in a family where there was a sibling that won all the medals and all the sports, and I did theater, it's a chance to kind of relive that, or not relive, I guess live it for the first time, where you're competing and you're practicing and you're hitting these goals, and like similar to winning a big game, you get the badge and you get something physical in the mail that you can show off and display. So I can see the sense of loss if they switch to digital, because it's not the same.
Right.
Actually.
Right. I agree with that. Like that's what I was thinking, especially coming from my position relative to the digital badge. If you were physically getting something, it's like, you know, running one of these virtual 5Ks or going to an actual 5K, 10K, you know, marathon, half marathon, and at the end, you know, you get your medal, and there's a pride in that. I would assume there was a similar type of pride in that physical, you know, piece of reward that they were receiving, that they could place somewhere. And just a digital representation of it, I can feel there would be a sense of loss there. Now, I think they're going a little extreme leaving the site, but I can appreciate it as well. And that makes sense to me. All right, cool. I think we're good there. I'm gonna go back up to the top. This might be a quick agenda item, maybe not. I'm not sure. We'll find out. Did anyone do any of the Reba McEntire classes? And if so, how were they? I want to hear about it.
They were talking about it in the chat. I didn't know that there was a live Pilates class, so I actually would do that because, you know, I don't care so much about the music selection if it's Pilates or stretching, but a lot of people seem to like it.
Okay.
I'm not doing Pilates either. Megan, I don't care what you say.
That stuff is hard.
Danielle?
That stuff is hard. Pilates, that's some hard stuff.
I took
Pilates is so hard.
That's
it's
hard.
Even harder listening to Reba. Like, what's her name? McEntire? Is that her name? I don't even know her last name.
Yes, McEntire.
The Pilates is hard enough as it is. Could you imagine listening to country music and doing Pilates? Megan, you can come for me if you want to, but I'm sorry.
I'm not coming for you, but I am curious. Do you do Allie's bar classes?
I do Allie's bar classes.
Oh, that's hard too.
You're doing bar, you could totally do Pilates.
Oh, that's hard too.
I do Pilates with Allie, but it's just because it's Allie. Like, I have to finish her library, so I do all of Allie's classes, and I keep begging her to please stop recording Coach's camera, and she just laughs at me. But the only reason I do Pilates or bar is because it's Allie, not because I thoroughly enjoy them.
Okay, well, my last thought about it was 20 minutes. It was really good, and Kristen McGee is, to me, the best when it comes to the Pilates classes. And it was the first live Pilates that they'd ever had. Everything is usually just on demand. So it was nice that I initially, when I saw it, thought it was a yoga class, and then just happened to look at the schedule again and saw that it was Pilates, and was super happy because I want them to have more Pilates content, and I wish that they had it live.
I agree. I'm going to do it tomorrow.
Is Kristen new? Did she just start teaching Pilates, or she's been teaching it this whole time?
She's been teaching it the whole time. She was a part of the first dump of classes, 20 classes. So they've had 2 dumps of 20 classes, and she was there from the beginning.
Okay, I didn't know that, and I saw it, and I saw her teaching. I was like, oh, that's really cool that she's teaching a Pilates class. I didn't realize it was a live class, but that's really cool that she's been a part of it the whole time, because I enjoy like her yoga classes and stuff. So
yeah, she does a really good job. Out of all the Pilates, she's the only one with a master's, she's a master's Pilates instructor, and you can tell for the difference of how she does the thing. She's more of a classical Pilates instructor.
She is.
How she does the mat Pilates, and it's very well structured.
Her transitions are phenomenal. Like if you aspire to do classical method, she is the person to follow. So give it a try, Danielle. I will absolutely try, because I actually do like her classes and I like her. I think because she's a boy mom, so automatically she gets like extra bonus points with me, because everyone knows I'm a boy mom. So anyone who raises little hellions gets bonus points. So I'll definitely give her Pilates. I'm not trying to Reba one, but I will definitely try another Pilates class with her. So thank you for the recommendation.
I'm not gonna lie, I ain't about to try it. So not because Pilates is rough. I don't know, y'all. It had nothing to do with the instructor. It had nothing to do with the music. It's strictly about Pilates. I tried that once.
Why would you do Pilates? That's like start with the stretching.
I gotta get the stretching first. I can't do the Pilates stuff. Is rough. But
I don't know. Now that you're so slim, you might want to tone up, work on that core.
You know what I mean? You're right. You're right. Maybe I need to do something. I don't know. But all right, it sounds like the Pilates Reba was good. No one really did anything beyond that and has any opinion on any of the other Reba classes.
I just want to say one last thing about the Reba Pilates. Reba was actually on, and at the end of class was high-fiving.
What?
That's all I want to say.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Serious.
I saw some posts about
And
that
she
too.
legitimately did it.
Well, that's new. Imagine if they started getting each of these artists in these artist series to actually be on these classes. Like, I guess you would. That's a way to boost, the users that take it, right?
Well, could you imagine a Beyonce showing up on a Beyonce class? Could you imagine?
I mean, if it became like a common thing that everyone knew, that I don't know if advertising it, but if they knew that if you're doing an artist series, the artist was going to be on that class, what would that mean for the classes? Wouldn't that be nuts?
That is, I don't know if I'm back in the zone at Stan, but that's why I loved when they had the team captains for Alex's greatness rides, was to have Steph Curry and Ryan Tannehill on the ride, and with Usain Bolt last year at homecoming. I think I said this last week. Like I kid around that I beat Usain Bolt in a race. I don't ever tell anyone it was Peloton. But I expected that. I think Beyonce was one of the first major artist announcements, and I expected her on, and Ed Sheeran rides, they say. So I did expect that early on. That's again where I'm critical of the marketing. If you're going to launch with Taylor Swift, like, you don't have to have her in studio, but to have a ride next to you as a special guest, I was surprised. I thought they'd have that all along.
I think those things are a little bit different. I think yeah, you're right. It's always great. You have a celebrity on the ride and have an athlete there. Of course, there's going to be a draw to that, especially with, like you said, like the Alex rides. But I feel like it's a little bit different if you're playing music and the artist that recorded the music is on the ride. That seems a little different.
They did it once before. I'm going to just reveal exactly how corny I am. But Emma Lovewell did a Debbie Gibson ride. And growing up in the 80s, I was a big fan from Long Island. Debbie Gibson was my girl.
Yeah. And
Debbie Gibson was on the Emma Lovewell ride at the same time, filming IG content, giving out high fives. So, the 12-year-old Tammy with braces was living in her moment back then.
And Jamie said that Reba was on the ride, too.
Yeah, they got it.
In the chat, Jamie said that. So, that's super cool. And if that gets out there that the artists are, taking the rides live and the classes live as they're happening, that would definitely boost, people who took the classes.
Peloton need to work on that.
Be on there,
If anyone's done, John, you and I chatted a couple months ago just in this room that Jennifer Jacobs, former Peloton instructor / love of my life, she did her 80s rides with Beachbody, and Anthony Michael Hall was riding, and she had a couple of 80s I don't call them icons, but they were riding and you saw them on screen. That was kind of an annoying little thing they did there, but they were all riding on these screens, almost like a big Zoom call. So you could see these 80 icons. I thought it was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. We know Beyonce has a bike. Like we already know that. So, I mean, it feels like that could happen. So I don't know why they should have said Peloton should have worked on that. Had Beyonce on the ride and advertised it. That class would have blown up. The internet might have broke.
Peloton would have crumbled. Like, I mean, could you imagine? They can barely get it right when, like, there's just a normal ride and there's too many people on there and everything freezes and you get the little spinning circle happening. Could you imagine Beyonce on a ride and other people know she's going to be on there? Nobody would get the ride.
Courtney in the chat.
Have a spinning circle.
Courtney in the chat gonna say she want Blue Ivy to high five her. I don't know if they let them Blue on the Peloton rides yet, but yeah, that would be fun.
It would break the internet for sure, but the stock prices would go up.
Yeah, they need to do something with that. I think that's a good idea. They need to think about it. They say if they do something, I'm gonna tell them like I came up with that. You guys need to give me some credit, right? All right, well, I'll move off the Reba rides. I'm assuming no one took anything other than Pilates, it seems like. So I'll move on. The third topic was fitness flipped. Now, I know we've talked in previous weeks about, the content with the Fitness Flip podcast. This week, I'm going to give my summary, what I thought I heard, how I felt about it. Second day, the second one, I'll start with that one. I know Tyler Wilton Moses, and he's a phenomenal individual. And so I have interest in him. And thus listening, so it's beyond Peloton. This is, again, who I am. It's beyond Peloton. So it's about people for me. So I know him. And so I have interest in the things that interest him. So I have interest in what he's saying because I'm interested in him. Right. And so that made that episode meaningful for me. That was the first one that was impactful to me, listening to Tyler speak. And so I had a completely different feeling and feel this week listening to that second episode. I truly enjoyed listening to that, and that touched me. The first one, so the Tuesday one, so I'm going backwards now. The Tuesday one, I also felt was a little bit better now. I mean, the sociologist, talked to things that I think time and growth and maturity, I think people just kind of figure out in their lives anyway. But I can see how the things that the sociologist just talked about, as you're kind of progressing in life, that would be valuable. So that was interesting to me. That was a little better than previous weeks. I don't know, the Sterling K. Brown stuff, I like him. So kind of listening to him speak, I think was good. There's a lot of cliche stuff in there that I'm not as much of a fan of, but I liked it. I was a little more positive on the podcast this week. Now, okay, given my synopsis, what did you guys think? Any thoughts? Or Pete?
It's still a no from me.
I'm bad. I haven't even listened to any except for the very beginning of the very first one. So shame on me.
I think each of them are getting better each week. Like I feel like they're learning from each one, and each week they're doing more. They dropped the cheesy web series editing. They dropped a lot of the weird sound effect transitions, and they just let her talk. Like the latest one is 41 minutes, where before they were trying to do these like 20-minute snippets as you walk to work. I don't think that's a form that Tunde does well.
Right.
A lot of her Instagrams are like at least 40 minutes long when she interviews people. So I feel like give it a couple more weeks and I think they'll really find their stride. Like I think it's growing pains is what we're hearing now. If they figure out what they want to do, because I don't think they know their voice yet.
Yeah, I'm right with you with the. I hadn't really picked up on that. You saying what you just said made me realize that I noticed that they dropped all the the little cheesy sound effect things. You're right; those weren't there. Yeah, that was a positive move. I think that was a good thing that they got rid of that. Yeah, that's interesting. It was interesting to me to listen to Tunde talk about how, in coming to Peloton 2 years ago, she immediately kind of did a cleanse of her Instagram, removing all her Black Lives Matter or anything socially might cast somebody angst from her account. And then she was that gave her some shame later on, as if she wasn't being authentic, and she thought that would, be more palatable to people in doing that. But now she regretted doing that. At first I went, what? But then I went, that is extremely brave for her to come out there and say that, right? Just throw that truth out there. That's what I did. I don't know if I should have done that. And I'm telling y'all, that's what happened. And, it is what it is. I was really impressed after I thought about it. So I don't know if you guys heard that or what your thoughts were on it, if you heard it.
Yeah, I thought the whole second half of the episode, I didn't really enjoy the sociologist that much. I thought the second half, maybe because I probably don't know as much about Tunde as some other people, but I think, listening to her explain why she did that, that she didn't want people to dive into her social media and make assumptions about, who she was or what she stood for. I forget the analogy that she used, but it was really good. Something about, about going into a restaurant, but not letting them see the menu. She didn't want people to make up their mind about her, without actually tasting her food.
Right.
And I thought that the interview with Sterling, I'm a fan of him as well. And, I thought that could have been a 40-minute episode in and of itself, how they both talked about losing, family members at young ages. They had so much in common. And I think that they could have talked for a full hour just about, some of those issues.
Right.
I think there was the first time in all of this that she was actually in the conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It was in conversation. You could tell they were having a conversation back and forth. All the other times I've listened to it, it's she asks a question and then the person just talks. And then you can tell it's just a recorded question and it's not in the conversation. That was the first time that they were you felt like they're in the same room.
Right.
I feel like the second half is always where she's where they actually have a real live conversation. I feel like it's the first half of the podcast where it's a recorded answer to a question. So she spoke with an author or something, and I feel like that was a canned response, and they gave the person the question. She answered, they recorded it and played it back. But I feel like whenever she gets to the part where there's an interview, it's a real live interview.
And I'm seeing in the chat, Evelyn saying that she never really liked the first half. I hear Tammy saying that, she kind of, the first half didn't appeal to her as much. I kind of am saying a similar thing. Sheldon saying when she gets into conversation with people, it's better. We're all saying the same thing ultimately. And I agree with that. It's it's just more appealing when it's a true conversation going on to me. So I agree with you. I think we're all saying a similar thing. Yeah. So I agree with you, Adia. I think it's evolving. I feel they're training up, and each week they're just getting a little better and a little better. I originally thought, they probably recorded 10 episodes, and then now they just threw them out. They're throwing them out there one by one. Now I'm starting to think maybe not. Maybe they did record things, but maybe they're editing them differently, or maybe they're just recording some of these things now. Thus, why we're seeing these improvements.
It's possible that they're also, John, that they're listening to the feedback and taking the episode they haven't released yet, and maybe re-editing it a little bit.
Right.
Because you can still have the content, and what you do with the episode each time can be based, can be unique.
Right.
For the one I do, I have 6 interviews in the can. I can just build the episode around that interview in the way I want to, based on what feedback I've gotten from prior episodes.
Yeah. Hey, Tanya, how's it going?
Good. I know somebody that was interviewed. Her episode's supposed to be out in April, but as she was interviewed, I can't remember if it was January or February. So these have been in the mix for a while. Also, I did the Reba McEntire strength and runs. They were both very good.
Okay. Oh, awesome. Yeah.
Hey, since you know someone that was interviewed, was Tunde in the room? Or was it they are asked a question by a producer or something and they didn't answer it?
I would have to go back and ask her, but my understanding was, I think it was done like through Zoom, and I think it was more like her and her family. We didn't ask her very many questions because I don't think she was allowed to reveal much information, so we didn't want to, be too intrusive and ask her a ton of questions. I just know that it was, I'm pretty sure, like I said, I want to say it was January, February that she was interviewed, and so it's been several months.
I think Tanya, I think that makes sense for the member interviews. Like I've done a few separate interviews with Peloton over the years. I've done some in my home. I've done one in their headquarters. I've done a few, and those type of things are always months and months ahead. Like every time, the thing that I recorded with Peloton wouldn't come out for 5-6 months. Like every time it was like that. But I guess what I'm questioning is the portion of the podcast where they're talking directly to the celebrity or they're talking to the professional. So I'm not talking really about the Thursday episodes. I'm talking about those Tuesday episodes. It makes me wonder if those are more real time, closer to closer to the drop of the episode, or if it's just as Sheldon said, those are just re-editing. Right. I get the member ones. I think that's just how they've always operated. But I don't know about the celebrity pieces. But it's clearly different. This last episode was clearly different. Right. So anyway, I hope they keep, whatever they're doing to to change it and make it better, or to augment it to make it more appealing to people. I hope they keep doing that. Again, I was a little more impressed. I don't know if it was specific to me because I had personal kind of thoughts about, the Thursday episode and the individual and I don't know, maybe next week there'll be people that I don't know or celebrities. It'll be Reba they're talking to, and maybe then it won't appeal to me. I don't know. But this week it did. I kind of liked it.
You probably still listen because it's tuned in, even if it was Reba McEntire.
Yeah, I might listen. I might listen anyway. I don't know. You're right. I might. I hear you, Courtney, in the chat talking about the upfront part is most supposed to be scientific and talking more about how it's beyond just fitness. I get that perspective. That's kind of a common kind of, thought of Tunde. I think that kind of aligns to her, what she's trying to put out there, that it's broader, that, we should be thinking broader than just the physical relative to fitness. So I get that. I get what you're saying. That's what the upfront piece is meant to be. I get that. That makes sense. All right, cool. Let me do another quick room reset. This is your weekly wellness check where we talk about Peloton, we talk about connected fitness, we talk about, our exercise regimens, our lives. It's supposed to just be friends talking. This isn't supposed to be anything stressful. So we welcome anyone who wants to hit the hand in the lower right of your phone. We'll bring you up on stage and you can kind of just join the conversation. Again, it's just a roundtable chat. If you don't want to do that, it's all good. Just kind of hang out in the audience, listen, or hit that chat button in the lower left of your screen, and you can join the chat with the individuals that are there. Cool. What do we got next? We got, the Lanebreak thing. You notice they have new ads for Lanebreak. And Cody did a 5-minute video or something on Lanebreak and how to use it, how fun it is. He was using all his Codyisms in there. You know what I mean? And it seemed like people took to that. I shared it and I felt like people were like, yeah, let me go check that out now. So then it made me wonder, has lane break, is it not really being used as much as they would have anticipated, and thus now we see the ad campaigns for it just jumping out there for people to understand what it is, to try to get people into it, or what? Like, so, you know, I'm interested in your guys' thoughts. Are you guys using lane break for anything? Anybody doing that?
I only take the short ones. I'm taking I think the longest I've done is 20 minutes. Honestly, it doesn't hold my attention. It's really hard though. So I'll be dripping in sweat. It's such a hard workout. And I did the Tabata one because I'm a Tabata junkie. Yeah. And I couldn't figure out where the intervals were. Because I'm so focused on the numbers. And then I was like, oh wait, I think this is a recovery. But it was really, really hard. And I was drenched, like I said. But I can't do more than 15, 20 minutes because I get bored. I just can't. And it requires a lot of concentration. Yeah. To be in those zones and hitting the numbers. And I care about hitting the numbers. So I want to make sure that, if it's telling me I'm supposed to be between 75 and 85 on my cadence, I want to be there. I care so much more in lane break than I do when I'm riding with an instructor. Yeah. Which is kind of crazy. But if you don't hit them when you're in lane break, then you don't get all the little stars and you don't get all the little bells and whistles. So I'm shit, I gotta focus.
I gotta ask you about that.
I don't use it. Sorry, John, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that my memory's horrible, Danielle, so I have a question about that, but I want to make sure that everyone else gets their point in before I ask it. Go ahead, Dan.
Oh, I don't use it and don't get it. I don't know, we talked a couple weeks ago, we said whoever worked on lane break, maybe they could have put them on guide or put them on the rower or something else. It was interesting they came out with it. I thought in a age where we all just came through the pandemic with screens, they gave us more screen engagement, which I just thought people want to be away from screens. So to each their own. I did 1 or 2 10 minutes, and I just said it's not for me. But I haven't looked at the level of engagement or how if there's rankings on it or anything. I just love the instructors and the people I ride with. So that's my take.
So I beta tested it. So I had it for quite a while.
Yeah.
And where I find it useful is I get really tied up in the leaderboard and the numbers. And if I do a cool down, lane break really makes me go slow. Okay. Because I get crazy into getting the points. So I have to go slow because I have to be in that really, low resistance, and higher cadence to get the points. Right. But I mean, I'm much older than most people who play video games. Soon I'll enter the 70 or older, which I'm actually looking forward to because my numbers will be better. But it was funny because when I first got it, I had no idea how to play it, and I'm going, why am I riding and not getting any points? So it's nice that they have the thing with Cody, for people showing them how to do lane break.
Yeah. Hey, Stacy, I just realized I hadn't brought you in. What's going on, Stacy?
Hi, John. Hi, everybody. It's really good to hang out here every week. I really enjoy it a lot, and I haven't been coming on stage a lot. But anyway, I just wanted to add that the lane break, it made me have motion sickness, so I couldn't do it for more than about 5 minutes. I just had to stop. That was one thing. And the other is I'm not sure what the purpose of it is in terms of their long-term roadmap. Are they going to lessen the importance of live instruction and the branding of all of the instructors and do other creative things? Or is this just an experiment? So anyway, wanted to get your thoughts about that.
That is right where my question is about to go relative to what Danielle is saying. So I'll hold off on that for a minute. What's going on, Adia? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, so as someone who did DDR religiously in high school, I get trying to connect fitness and gaming. I did try it, and I think the problem is it's not as smooth as it should be. I agree with Danielle. There's so much going on, and you're so hyper-focused. You can't just get into a flow or zone like I used to do with DDR and other games like that. So I think the idea is I like it. I do like connecting gaming and fitness. I just don't think this is where it is. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. You say that when I first saw it, I thought I thought the concept probably was interesting for people that are into gaming to gamify it a little bit. I was a little surprised at the graphical representation of kind of a gaming experience. I was expecting something much more graphical. But maybe, I was just expecting way too much. But I'm not much of a gamer, so I didn't go too far with that. But that was my first impression when I saw it. As far as gaming, as far as visuals, it's on point with most rhythm games on the market. Really? Okay. If you play other rhythm games on your phone or stuff like that, it has almost a identical feel of you have these lanes that you have to get to, and as you go through you get these bonuses and stuff like that. I think they nailed the design of it for people who are already in that genre. Okay. But well, that's helpful. I didn't know that. Okay, that's good. Well, okay, so now going back to Danielle, Stacy, your points, which kind of leads into the next topic as well. So I've known for years now, we've known that iFit, before they even called themselves iFit, when they were just Nordic Trek, and some of the other smaller players have allowed streaming video platform apps on their platform. I know Echelon hasn't done that, but I know iFit did. I'm pretty sure when SoulCycle dropped their bike, they did. Whatever that bike was called that Beachbody bought, I can't mix. I think they did. I think all these platforms allowed, they would have Vudu and Hulu and Netflix and all these apps on the screen that you could just hit the app and you could be doing a ride, getting credit for your ride, the metrics and all, while actually watching, some movie. Peloton never did that, and I think, if I remember correctly, their position was, forgive me if I'm not articulating this right, but I thought it was more like they wanted you to be concentrating on their instructor. That's the instructor, and that content, that person is who they want you to pay attention to. That helps promote that individual and their platform. And so I never thought they would go away from that, because I thought that was core to fundamentally how they operated. So if you then bring in, if that's the case, if that is the case, then you bring in a game that essentially takes the instructor out of the equation and that studio content out of the equation. Did you just open the door for other things that take the instructor and the studio out of the equation? Is this the inlet into next we're going to see a Netflix app?
Well, I can't imagine working out and watching Netflix. It's just not for me. When I had an injury and I couldn't really work out, then I could watch TV and work out at the same time because it was supposed to be low intensity. But in general, I couldn't work out and watch TV. But I think Lanebreak is kind of to pull in maybe that younger crowd, of people, because I think my kids would probably really like Lanebreak. I mean, they're not allowed to touch my bike, but they probably really enjoy it. Because it has that video game, aspect to it. Whereas, I don't know, watching Netflix is, maybe my mom would want to watch Netflix when she's riding, if she rode, but for me, it's not for me. So I don't know that it's a one-to-one kind of ratio.
So I almost feel like these features are not targeted to us, right? Because we're there because we love the instructors, we love the content, and that's what keeps us there. I feel like they're introducing this more for the people who are on the fence about what bike to get, and it's this Peloton has this cool thing where you can play a video game. And I might be able to stream Netflix. I feel like it's to draw more people in who are not yet sold on the content and the instructors.
Interesting enough, Jamala's saying in the chat that iFit shut that down a year ago, these streaming apps. So I don't know that. I didn't know that. So I think that kind of aligns with them changing their name to iFit. Like before that, they were NordTrack, and then their software was iFit. So if during that time that they were refactoring what they called themselves, if they then disallowed these streaming apps at that point, it sounds like they were trying to align with the Pelotons and the Echelons of the world who never allowed that. For whatever reason, they didn't allow it. There must be some business reason, and I'm assuming it's what I'd spoken about earlier, which is they want concentration on the instructor and the studio. But I'm still of the frame of mind now that gamification in the way that Peloton has presented it just excluded the instructor and the studio.
I think it's a fine line here, John. It's an engagement modality, right? Mm-hmm. So a game that engages you in a fitness activity and makes and works you towards a fitness goal is engaging you into the piece of equipment. Netflix is an escape from the equipment. Okay. Yeah. And frankly, slap an iPad next to you or something, or throw it on a TV and put it in just ride mode, right? Yeah. I think those tools are available in lots of different ways. Whereas curated, specialized content that's created for your device that engages it in the fitness activity is just another way of hooking someone, frankly. Because, a lot of people here are dedicated to the craft, right? We're in for the classes and stuff like that. But a lot of people will use their bike once in a while, and maybe this would make them use it a few more times, and it would reduce that churn even more, so they won't get rid of their subscription. Okay. It's all about that in the end, I think. And I just think there's other ways for them to get the things like the Netflix and Spotify. Not that some people would want it. They'd love it. They'd say, yeah, I just would love to have it right there in front of me. That'd be fantastic. And some may do it, so you never know. Okay. I'm with you until... except for one thing. I'm with the idea that, yeah, what are they getting from that? That person could just turn a TV on that's near their bike or get an iPad and put that on. Yeah, what's in it for Peloton from that perspective? Like, I kind of get that thought. And what's going to draw a user to the platform just from that, looking at it from that vantage point. But the only piece that misses me on that is, But if I'm just turning on a TV or an iPad with Netflix, I don't. It's not like a Just Ride. I don't maintain my metrics. So, do they not? Just like a gamification like app, do they not gain some benefit by just allowing users to do that while seeing their metrics? And while gaining credit for whatever it is they're doing, don't they draw people in some way with that?
If they had a Netflix option, there were plenty of bad weather days when I was marathon training and I had to do like 15 miles on the tread. I might have put on a Netflix. There's only so many classes you can stack with so many instructors, but it's not a must-have for me.
No, and not every day is a workout day, right? And some days there is recovery days. And you just put it in low-intensity mode and just zone out.
But there's ways you can do it. Just do Just Ride and turn on your TV. You get your metrics, you get your miles, you get the credit if that's what you're into.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I was saying. They just put it in Just Ride mode, yeah. I don't know if you get. I don't know your bikes. I don't know if you get credit for that or not.
What's interesting is that I think the reason Peloton doesn't do that is that's what sets it apart. If it was a thing that you could just watch TV, why would anyone want to spend the money on a Peloton?
Yeah.
And I will say, I like to read while I'm running. I know I'm weird like that, and I'll frequently set my iPad up and read while I'm running. So, I guess that's the same thing for people who like to watch TV when they're working out. I can't watch TV when I'm working out. It just doesn't work for me. But on the flip side, I can read. And I like to read and run. I can't read and bike, but I can read and run. So,
anytime we have Zooms from work, that's just like, town halls and stuff, I get on my bike on Just Ride and, have my iPad there to watch the webinars rather than just sitting. I might as well be moving.
Yeah. It's a tough one for me. Like, and I see you in the chat, Jamala. Yeah, back in June of last year, Icon, we used to talk about Icon all religiously in my group. We were like all over Icon, and we know they have, the multiple brand names under that Icon, umbrella. And so we would just I would just talk to them as Icon. But yeah, June of last year, they officially changed their corporate name to iFit. So it's no longer Icon, it's just iFit. And again, all their brands are underneath that. But yeah, I just kind of see this as the possibility of an entry point into, along with Uncle Barry's thought that they're just going to open the platform. Like I'm taking that into consideration too. Uncle Barry keeps saying we're going to open the platform. The developers can build stuff on the platform. Well, if they're building stuff to throw on the platform, I'm assuming it's not stuff that has instructors and studios in it, right? If some developer in his basement is trying to monetize something he's building, and Uncle Barry's going to throw it on the touch screen, I'm assuming it's not going to have an instructor or, a studio in it. So that tells me they're opening this thing up and moving away from this, I'm forcing you to focus on an instructor in the studio, which then aligns in my mind to, well, the gamification did that as well. And those two things together seem logical to me that we may see Netflix and Hulu and, other apps.
I mean, it couldn't hurt them, right? Because you got the instructors already. So you got the core group of us who are really focused on the instructors, but maybe you'll get those one-offs or two-offs who want to do the gamification or want to be able to watch Netflix or whatever. So, I mean, I don't think that allowing that as a possibility is going to hurt the brand. You know what I mean? Like somebody said, well, why would you buy a Peloton if it's like any other bike? But it's not like any other bike, because not only does it give you Netflix and Lanebreak and gamification, but it gives you world-class instructors, which is really, I think, where their draw is. So you get the instructors plus you get this other stuff. So I don't think it would hurt the brand.
I know I heard you saying, Danielle, there's a couple things that go through my mind, which is one is when you introduce a product like that, you try to reach a new audience. So they, at the end of the day, had inventory and were trying to sell bikes. So I just stepped back, and I'm not sure who it was that talked about her being 70. I don't want to say it was somebody and get their age really wrong. It was Danielle who talked about her being 70. No, I'm kidding, dang it. Whoever it was that talked about them being 70.
Dan. Like revealing my age like that was so rude.
I knew who it was. I didn't want to call her out. So, I mean, Peloton, the average age is, plus 40. But the thing is that, when you're launching a new product, you try to reach a new audience. So were they really thinking they were going to sell bikes to gamers? Were they going to get younger? And then the question is, was this the thing to do it? People make mistakes coming out with things and you pivot and come out with better things. Or otherwise, sometimes people say you only get a chance to launch once. I just don't know, what the purpose was. And what kind of concerns me about, as you call him, Uncle Barry, John, is if it was, I'm watching the WeWork thing on Apple TV right now, is that, if he was like, we want to be a tech company, we want to be a gaming company, we want to be more connected fitness. If it was part of an overall platform for them to pivot into being a gaming company or more of a tech company, that's scary. And I just don't think this was it. I don't know their strategy and where they were going with it, but my hunch would be they're trying to reach a new consumer, and that's a big question mark. Are they really going to, not just gamers, but are they going to get younger because of this thing? Just was, to sum it up in a sentence, it just confused me.
Yeah, that makes sense. Actually, yeah. If I'm thinking it from that context, what was the intent? I guess it does kind of confuse me a little too. So I don't know.
So, John, totally unrelated and not on the agenda at all. But I just saw that Kari popped on. Kari.
Oh, okay.
But I literally saw the Emma Lovewell. I just re-listened to our last week, and he talked about Emma Lovewell rowing, and I just watched it, and she was on a freaking kayak. So
Kari crazy.
what the hell are you talking about?
Did you see the kayak? You saw it?
Rowing content in Patagonia or somewhere. And honest to God, my phone's clearly listening to me, because then I went on IG on Instagram, and there she was in my newsfeed with this post of her on a damn kayak, not a rower, a kayak.
Kari crazy.
I was like, and I sent it to you, John. And I was like, tell me this is what they were talking about.
Yep.
She said she was filming rowing content.
Yeah, that's what Kari was talking about. That what he thought.
There's nothing wrong with a kayak. But that's where the content's coming from.
Kari.
That's what it is, Kari. That's what it is. It's coming from the Patagonia. That's what it is right there, Kari.
You guys need to be ready. Danielle has to be ready for that rowing content.
Kari, we're fighting. That's it. It's on.
Oh man.
I was like legit thinking it was like real rowing content, and then this popped up on my news feed, and I sent it to John, and I was like, tell me this is not what they were talking about.
She literally sent it to me, Kari. She was like, oh, please tell me this ain't what Kari was talking about. This is crazy. I started dying laughing.
Water, paddles. What else?
Oh,
those swan boats that's around the fountains and stuff. There you go.
That's gonna be their rowing content.
The level of harassment I get about this rower is like unreal. I don't know what you guys are gonna do when the rower releases and you have nothing to harass me about.
We thought you were gonna be
so bored every week.
We thought you were gonna be all excited when you saw that. I know that's what Kari thought. We thought you were gonna be excited. So
when I saw her in the kayak.
Yeah, when you saw her in the kayak.
Poor Danielle. Who's gonna pay her therapy bills?
I'm sending them to John.
Along with his Amazon packages that he sends to himself.
Yeah, I still don't get no packages. Last package I got was from Janetta. That's the last time I got any mail. Nobody sends me nothing. But that's all right. All right.
Watch out, John. You're going to start getting a ton of stuff.
That's funny. All right, this next one's hot item. This is some hot stuff right here we about to talk about right here. Because I got something. Well, Danielle sends me something in the morning. I get up. I'm drinking my coffee. Danielle sends me this thing, says, oh, snap. Peloton had like some 30-something% off thing that I just saw on their Peloton Apparel Instagram account. And I'm like, what? So I go and post it in the group. And as I'm posting it, Erica's like, hold up. I got to go look what I can buy first. And so then she's running out on the Peloton Apparel site trying to look for stuff. And when she finds what she wants, then I'll post it, of course, right? And she says, these leggings are $16. And this top right here is like $18. I just got a whole outfit for $34. And I'm like, what is this Walmart prices? Like, what is going on at Peloton? And so I was just wondering, did you guys like feel that way about the prices currently as well? And what in the world is going on if you saw the same thing?
The prices were bananas. I snapped up 3 sports bras and spent under $50 for 3 sports bras.
What is happening? What is
you can't even get a sports bra in Walmart. You can't get 3 Walmart sports bras for under $50.
Peloton done turned into like Walmart out here. What happened? What is going on with this?
I remember a couple of years ago, Boxing Day, I picked up 7 items. So like 3 sets of shorts for my husband and son, Lululemon bra and shorts. And I think I paid less than $200 Canadian, which is huge for in the Canadian dollar. Canada did not receive that promotion either.
They didn't. Wow. That's wild.
Barry's emptying the coffers, man. Get the stuff out of here.
Doesn't it make you think that? It makes me think that
spring new collections are coming, or they're partnering with someone. One of those 3 things.
It's like something new must be coming, or like Uncle Barry came in and said, "Okay, show me where all the attire's at," and they showed him the apparel, and he was like, "I want all this gone. Get rid of all this." Like that's what it looks like. Like what in the world?
This stuff just isn't selling. Like all of the Peloton branded apparel is not selling. It's It's just not. And I haven't been a fan of the pieces I've gotten. You fired Jill from the boutique section.
That's what I was about to say. Get rid of the Jill line. Maybe that's it.
I will say the Cadent line, though, the Cadent, like, pants and sports bra, the material is like butter. Like, it's incredible material. But I think they shot themselves in the foot when they flooded the market. Like, it used to be like a rush to get everything. And I'm telling you, I say this every time we talk about apparel. Like, we'd be in BGM, and they'd be like, I'm not posting that new apparel is up until after I've already purchased my stuff. Because BGM ladies like to spend some money, and they will, like, snatch something out of your cart.
See what I'm saying?
Like, I'm going to buy my stuff, and then I'll post that the sale is live.
You see?
New items are live.
See?
Wait, John, remember I first met you, it's Dan. Remember I first met you in my first room? I bought those pants that had a fly with no fly.
Yeah, I remember.
With no zipper. They're the fly with the flap, but nothing in it. I was like, what do I do with this? I still wear the pants. I don't even know what they're called, but joggers or something with the fake fly. But I'm sorry. Now we go back to the business part. One, they got rid of Jill, who was leading apparel. They got rid of her, but second of all, I just couldn't understand it. It was so much their number one thing they were promoting. And I just always step back and we're like, they're not going to be Gap or Nike. Like, what are they selling? $2, $3, $4, $5 million a year in clothing, even at a high margin. Like, this isn't going to get you out of the $1.6 million, a year you're losing. And it was everywhere on the screens, apparel, they were hammering it. And I just, again, didn't understand it. I didn't understand its purpose. I kind of used that before about Lanebreak. I just didn't understand its purpose. If the purpose was to be a billboard and have people all wearing Peloton around, then make the prices lower. So it was, another thing that I just don't think they well executed it. So maybe a la the bikes, they're sitting on a lot of inventory and they're just trying to get out of the business. It'll be interesting to see if they keep promoting it, go a different direction, license it to, someone else, or I'd be surprised if Uncle Barry keeps it around in 6 months.
That's where I'm at. I feel like one of two things is about to happen. Either they're clearing this whole thing out to move away from it, or they're clearing this whole thing out to go another direction with it. And maybe it's a licensing with someone else, or maybe it's just decreasing the drops to how it used to be years ago with new stuff that now only comes out once every 5 to 6 months to making it more, appealing or something. It feels like something is likely about to change.
I agree, but go ahead.
I was just gonna say real quick. The thing I don't understand is they're still coming out with new stuff. So I'm confused with what Dan was saying or whoever. Why are they still coming out with new stuff if they're trying to get rid of stuff?
Because it takes a long time. When they make it, they don't make it in like 2 weeks. So like they've already made this stuff. They've already ordered it. They already have it sitting there. So or on the way
doing their. Yeah, I think Danielle, I haven't looked at her bio in a while, but we've both been in the apparel business, and apparel companies are showing fall and winter now. So they may even, if they may have, fleeces and winter things coming still. We may see it for 6 months because your Nikes and your Sauconys and your Pumas showing retailers, Dick's Sporting Goods of the world, they're showing them fall right now and even Christmas soon.
Yeah. You were...
So, John, you were talking about maybe them collaborating again with a new, like a potential change in the apparel business. I'm curious if the apparel business will actually push away some of the companies that are aligned with Peloton when it comes to like Rhone and Adidas. I know that the price point right now is so low on the products. I'm wondering if if it almost pushes out the Adidas version of a t-shirt to be in the same category, if it's just too expensive to be against the Peloton apparel.
Yeah, that's a good question. It depends on if these prices now are just for clearance, just for clearance, and then we just don't ever see these again. The next time we see stuff, it's back to those exorbitant prices we used to see. I don't know, but Adia, you were going to say earlier. I'm sorry, I skipped over you.
No, that's fine. No, I was going to say a majority of the stuff that's on sale is the With brand within Peloton. Mm-hmm. I think I agree with you. I think they're going in a different direction, and they kind of want to move away from their older stuff to kind of their own more Peloton branded things. Because I know With was hit and miss. I have a couple pieces, and like some said, I had some that are like amazing and well done, and others that were just okay. But for the like Peloton branded stuff that I have, or like if you look on the website, it'll tell kind of like, I guess, manufacturer. I don't know how I'm not in the apparel business, but it's all been really consistent quality. I'm wondering if they're trying to change the narrative by kind of getting rid of the stuff that they were affiliated with old or a long time ago, and then moving into a newer direction. So that's why we're seeing these like move, because these are pieces that I've seen like on the site for like 2 years and like are constantly on sale. Right. And this is the lowest I've ever seen, but all the pieces I've got from With have been at these like deep discounts. Right.
I just wonder if they're getting out of the apparel business altogether themselves. Like, it's a tough business with inventory and stuff aging out, and you're holding it. And I just think Barry's financial numbers are ticking real quick in his head. He's like, yeah, this is a dog. We gotta put it out. And
I don't think they'll get out of apparel business altogether, because people love Peloton apparel.
Yeah, but they could partner though. They could partner with someone that does it really well.
Well, they haven't completely unpartnered though.
Yeah,
they're still partnered with other companies. So I mean, you can still buy the With things. You can still buy the Adidas line. So I mean, and there's still Nike sports bras and stuff. So I mean, they haven't completely unpartnered and went on their own. So I don't know that they would get out of it altogether. Honestly, I find that their brand is better than some of the other. I'm not a fan of the With, WTH or With or whatever you call it. I'm not a fan of their stuff at all. I find the sports bras really restrictive and constraining, and that they run small in size and they just don't have the same quality of material. I haven't tried Nike from them yet, but I just personally find the Peloton brand better. Like, it's, at least the Caden line. I can only speak to the Caden line, because the Caden one is the one I buy all the time, and it's incredible. But I'm curious as to, like, when they do the Adidas line, and Adidas carries it on their site, and Peloton carries it on their site, I wonder what their margins look like. Because I can buy from Adidas for the same price that I buy from Peloton, but I always get free shipping on Adidas because I'm like an Adidas member. So I always get free shipping. And they generally don't run out of sizes. So I'm curious if that kind of hurt them a little bit, doing it that way, where you can buy it in both places. Whereas, like, when you buy a Nike Peloton sports bar, you can't buy it on Nike. It's only on Peloton.
Well, I mean, that point to me kind of aligns to what Sheldon is saying, like the complexities of that business and potential low return relative to it. And it also kind of aligns in my mind to what we saw with they buy that, sports watch company. We don't see anything from it. All of a sudden they tell you you're going to get this heart rate band with the guide. Then all of a sudden that disappears, and now you got to buy it separately. It almost felt like Uncle Barry came in and said, what in the hell are we in the business of competing with heart rate bands for? Will you just like back up? Like, this has a similar feel to me with the apparel. Like, maybe Uncle Barry was like, back up. Why are we competing with all these people?
Competency.
Right.
Not a core competency.
This isn't our core competency, and we got all these other problems, and we sitting here playing with watches and shirts. Like, that, it almost feels like that a little bit. So I hear you, Sheldon. I don't know. Go ahead, Shelly.
And also, if you remember, like years ago, they would put out a line of clothes, and it was like you had to be on an order or you couldn't get anything. And then when they started making so much of it, then they started having to dump it and put things on sale. And I think that hurt them too. Yeah. Like, the community grew, but they made so many more clothes that the amount of clothes they made grew bigger than the community.
Right.
So I think
I definitely agree, Shelley. Yeah, I mean, I really agree with that overproduction. They definitely should have stuck to, like, the smaller. I can remember being in a class and, like, an instructor having on new gear and be like, it would be Jess or Allie, and they'd be like, this apparel is dropping like right now, and I grab my phone and log on.
Remember that?
Like at the end of class to buy it.
Right?
Especially
like,
the leggings.
My size is going to be gone.
We'd be racing. Remember that?
Yeah.
That's gone.
You don't have it anymore.
That's gone.
Now I'm going to wait because it's going to go on sale for 70% off.
Oh, that brings me back to the question I forgot to ask. But maybe this didn't happen because it sounds like from Adia was saying this is a lot of stuff that had been out there on the site for a long time. But I was wondering, did anybody see something on the site that was deeply discounted that they paid full price for? No? Like, because I would be a little hurt if I paid $100 for like a shirt and now I'm seeing it out there for $15.
I didn't, but the denim jacket, I had the denim jacket in my cart like a bunch of times, and I kept taking it and taking out because it was like $97 or something ridiculous. $90, $80, something like that. And I was like, I really want this jacket. I'm not paying this amount for a jacket. And I got it for like $25. So I didn't actually pay. I didn't pay full price for it because I couldn't bring myself to do it. But I mean, that's a huge discount that I paid like $25 or $27 for that denim jacket.
See?
Well, and if you remember at homecoming, you know, when it was the Home Rider Invasion, they used to have that sale with those $5 boxes.
Yeah.
You know, you could pick through and get like 3 shirts for like $15.
I missed all of those because I was never at homecoming then. I wasn't like a Peloton user back then. I think when I started, they had like the last live homecoming event. But someone else was talking about those on like another Clubhouse a while ago, and they were saying how like they would bring out like bins of clothes.
Yep, I remember.
And it would be like, yeah, just grab it. It's fine. It's $5. Just take it. And I'm like, oh my God, how did I miss all of this?
Yeah, and it was funny back then, Danielle. Jill Foley would be there with us at the end of the day, and Jill would be like, just throw that in there. Okay, $5. Yeah, I remember that.
That's what they were saying. I'm like, I can't believe I missed this. They were like, it was literally like a swap meet.
It was. I'm looking at the people in the chat, right? And I'm seeing a whole bunch of people saying, yeah, John, that was me. I paid full price. And then here they out here, clowning with this $15 mess.
Now, John, flip that when they drop the price of the bike if you buy it 31 days before.
Oh, man. Oh, now you just hurt my heart. I know. Oh, my goodness. Can you imagine?
To go back real quick about what Danielle had mentioned with the instructors advertising per se, has anybody thought about the Brittany Allen brand and how well it's done for people like Jess that wears her products? I know I ordered some for Lisa over Christmas, and they told me they were backed up. It was going to take a lot longer for them to build the apparel. But I feel like Brittany Allen does a very good job. It's all handmade, but it's something that Jess wears in almost all of her Jess King experience shows. A lot of her rides, she has custom outfits designed for her, and some of the other instructors wear it too. So it's just a good point, though.
That's a really good point. Because I know for Jess Sims, we actually had a fan who started their own IG where they were like, what Jess wore, and they would like try and figure out what she was wearing and post it and like post the links. So Nicole Coco Loco started posting it like weekly in the You Get To Crew page of what Jess was wearing so people could buy it. And I know Jess Minardi sent her a couple of sports bras, and then they would literally sell out. Like, it's bananas, the power that the instructors have. And Jess wouldn't even talk about like what she was wearing. She would just have it on, and people would lose their minds and be like, for example, the one sleeve sports bra, they call it the titty sling. Excuse my French. In BGM and BPR, but like that bra sold like fire after Jess wore it, and people were like losing their minds. So it's kind of it's a good point that whoever the instructors are wearing, the fan base is going bananas trying to find it.
Hey John, I purchased like 15 items on a Wednesday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all of them were on sale. And I don't usually buy the items from Peloton unless it's on sale. I'm a little cheap. I don't buy it unless they're on sale.
Mm-hmm.
So I purchased them on Wednesday. On Thursday,
Like maybe I paid $25 for a bra. On Thursday, that bra was like $19 or $16. I picked up the phone, called Peloton, and they credit me all that money back.
Are you serious?
They credit me all that money back. I'm like, okay, I just purchased this on yesterday. Now you have every item I purchased, all 15 items were on sale the next day.
Oh, man.
Even more.
I knew that was happening. It had to be because they keep turning around the next day with another deep discount. I knew that had to have been happening.
Yes. It's amazing.
Wow. That's wild. Well, yeah, I don't know if we came into any conclusions there, but I know that something seems like something is coming to culmination, like something's about to happen. So it'll be interesting to see whatever that is. We'll see.
Hey, John, your comment about homecoming and buying the apparel.
Yep.
The last year that we could do the homecoming, your stores, certain stores had apparel that you can get, like bras for $10, $15 as well. Like they had it out in different stores.
Oh, wait. They had it out. Are you talking? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Are you talking about recently?
So when no, this was like before homecoming was shut down. So
okay.
When New York still could have their homecoming, and because Canada, I think that was the year Canada just finally got the bikes.
Mm-hmm.
And so Calgary we had our own kind of virtual, in a sense, homecoming of people who've been in the community.
Mm-hmm.
And they had boxes of old, like trying to get rid of apparel.
Oh, wow.
So they were doing that across Canada. Like I said, I think I got, like for us in Canada, everything's more expensive.
Yeah,
so say a bra would normally be, your guys' bra would be $30. We pay anywhere from $40, probably about $40.
Yeah.
We have to pay for shipping every time as well. We do not get the same things. Like we only get maybe, I don't know, like we get about a quarter of what you guys have on the website.
Right.
We don't get near the stuff. And I don't know what it's like in, say, like the UK or Australia, but it's very disheartening. But I must say that year with homecoming, it was kind of nice to go into the store because we were trying to make a big deal about, Peloton's just starting. It was a brand new thing kind of in Canada, even though I knew about it for years. And being able to purchase things for really cheap.
I wonder if that has to do with maybe portions of it is distribution of that of the apparel, or maybe it's the cost of shipping, or I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what is that like. You'd think you would want to provide the same items and apparel for folks that are in these global markets. Like, so I don't know what that is. That seems odd.
I know in our group, like in the Canadian group, there is people that talk about, okay, look, in the UK, they are selling this right now. Here's the U-ship that you can buy it from, and they'll ship it to you here in Canada. Check your friends from the States, order it to them, and have them shipped to you. There's one lady that's very good. She knows all the different, order from this website, get it shipped to this place, and they'll ship it to you.
Right, like you have to go through these hoops, to kind of maneuver around the system to get it done. It just seems odd to me. Why would they? I don't know. I'm sure there's some reasoning behind it, but I don't get that. That's odd.
So, I have a question that maybe. So before the pandemic, I had bought a couple of packages to ride in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
And those all had expiration dates, and I don't know if anyone else had that. But I wonder if Peloton is going to honor the, couple $100 that people paid.
Well, I had credits back then too. They just credited me all that stuff back. I had to, at the time of them like saying, okay, we're done with this. We're going to shut all this stuff down. I was like, all right, well then give me my money back. And they gave me my money back for all those credits I had. So that same thing happened to me.
Yeah, because nobody could ride in studio.
Right.
And it's funny, was my company, when they gave out holiday presents, they were trying to personalize them, and like $400 worth of credits.
Wow. Yeah, like it'll be exciting to kind of get that back going.
It'd be really exciting to do that.
I wonder when the Peloton instructor apparel is coming back. Because if you remember, a couple of weeks ago, they all posted about, like, what would you like to see on apparel catchphrases from the different Peloton instructors. Now, they didn't do all of them, but they did like Jess, they did Allie, I think they did Cody. I can't remember who else they did. Adrian, maybe. Like, they did a few of them.
I didn't know that post went out. Really?
Yeah, they did as their IG story, Peloton apparel, and was like, what would you want to see? Which catchphrase would you want to see?
Wow. See, you're confusing me now, Dan. Now you're confusing me, Danielle. Now you got me going all against my whole theory. Now, okay, so if they ask questions about what people want on apparel, then that means they're about to make something. Dang.
That's what I think. I think they're going to bring back because they had it for a minute, right? Like, they used to have the instructor catchphrases on apparel that you could buy.
Yeah, I remember.
And then it kind of went away. Cody was one of them that they asked, what would you want to see? So they kind of did like the two catchphrases that they say the most. So I know for like Allie, it was like yes or yes or boss up.
Right.
And I don't remember Cody's.
I used to have a boss up t-shirt.
But yeah, so they posted like, which one would you want to see? And they took a poll. So to me, that says they're going to bring that back at some point.
Right.
Otherwise, the point in the poll.
See, you got me all confused now. See, Danielle, I don't know what's going on now. See, I'm all confused now.
The Cody's was grab a water, grab a towel, get your life together, boo.
I have every one of their shirts somewhere. Of course they have no sleeves anymore, but I have every one of their shirts.
I was just going to say I'm going to steal them from you until you said they have no sleeves.
Yeah, none of them. I cut all the sleeves off. I cut every sleeve off.
Jazz, find me a shirt in your house that has sleeves, please.
All right, so see if we can get through a couple more. The next topic I have is on a video I saw over last weekend, I think. And it wasn't a new video. This video had been around for a few months. And it was about Echelon's new EX8S bike. Again, it's not really new now, but so the video wasn't new. But what struck me about the bike is the bike has this screen that's curved. Like the curved TVs or the curved computer monitors, and they tell you that because it's curved, it gives you more of an immersive kind of feel, and it's supposed to be something that makes the experience better because it's curved with TVs and computer monitors. Well, Echelon's monitor has that same feature. It's curved, but also it has resistance via Bluetooth on the handlebar. So instead of having to reach down to turn a knob, you just hit this little button and resistance start going up right where your hands already are. And then you hit this knob on the other, this button on the other, where your left hand is, right where your hands already are, and you can have the resistance going down. And so when I looked at both of those features, I thought, that's pretty neat, I think. The Peloton bike, to me, seems to be the same Peloton bike it was that I saw 6 years ago. I know the Bike Plus now has power meter pedals. I know the screen now can turn, and I gotcha. But beyond that, it's kind of like the same bike. So should they be moving like these other companies are with these capabilities like this? Are they missing something? That's what it made me think when I saw the video. Like have they just been riding on the content, getting people to buy the bike, but the bike hasn't really changed, and maybe it should? Is that blasphemy?
What would you change? I think it's just fine.
I'm saying that if technology from a monitor perspective has moved towards a more immersive experience comes with a curved monitor, or if bikes have now started to move towards not causing a rider to have to reach down to turn a knob, and now they can change resistance right from the handlebar, should Peloton be keeping up with those changes occurring in the space? Right, like they haven't. Like those things, they haven't gone those.
I think the curved monitor is Samsung tried to do the curved TV and it was pretty much the bust. So I don't know if that would, do anything. And the automatic shifting of the on the Bike Plus, my friends who have the Bike Plus, they don't even use that. They prefer to do their own.
I'm not talking about auto shift. I'm talking about the ability to change your resistance without having to use a knob. Like the buttons are right where your hands already are on the bars.
Yeah, it's kind of like the tread with the little button. But I don't know. I don't find that as a deterrent. I prefer they have really good content. And maybe that's why they're making their bikes better, I don't know.
I mean, bikes at the gym don't have it up there. Unless you're using an espresso bike. The espresso bike has the resistance on the handlebars. But if you're just in a gym using a spin bike, it's the same place where it is for Peloton. So I don't necessarily see it as a deterrent, but it is a nice feature to have.
Hey, John, PTR'd to a new LG type of curved screen for you here for a bike that was just released. John, I got questions.
Okay.
At some point, don't you just go outside?
No. No, you don't. I mean, I'm just not an outdoor rider. I don't have any interest in being an outdoor rider. I don't have any interest in putting on a helmet and then clipping in and then dealing with traffic and people in cars. I don't have any interest in going off-road and riding on some concrete or on some dirt trail. I don't have any interest in any of that. I just want to be able to get up, know I need to do some cardio, get on a bike that's in the next room, and when I'm done, go take a shower and then sit down and watch Law and Order. Like, I mean, I don't really...
The immersive global hemisphere type of experience. Like, why is the screen so vertical? Why wouldn't you expand it left, right, not just north, south?
Well, I get your question that if you're trying to create more immersion, why wouldn't the person just forget trying to recreate something that already exists in your natural existence outside? I get where you're going with it, but no, I wouldn't go outside.
Yeah, and I agree with you completely, John. The only thing you left off was breaking bones. The only thing I'm not looking forward to doing is going outside and falling off a bike and breaking something. So I will stay in my basement on my Peloton.
Yeah,
I'll speak to the bike a little bit. My good friend of mine has it. He got the EX8, just started using it this weekend. Freaking loves it. He had a different Echelon bike before. Again, you're on these things to get exercise, number one, right?
Right.
But again, engagement matters. Peloton does it with content.
Right.
They do a great job with it, right? Finding ways to take your content and make it more immersive. Hydro's thing is about the immersive rowing experience.
Right.
So they're continually looking for ways to change that. So I think, I think there are... To answer your question, the original, I think Peloton should do. I mean, the Bike Plus was a big step up from, I say big. It was a step up from the other bike, right? And brought some new experiences and new features. But I think they would be wise to start looking at what's the next generation going to look like. Because, again, the shifter and the handlebars, my friend loves it. He likes to change gears. He stands live. He's a masher. He loves to pound out output.
Right.
So he likes having them right there. So, I mean, I think there are lots of opportunities to do this and to have a much better, the next generation product should consider these things. And they should get it out there because, people don't always look at just the content because they can't always experience the content, right? If the content looks okay, looks decent, they'll say, okay, that's great. What's the bike got? And so it's a selling feature for some people. Now, Peloton's fortunate enough that it's big enough that everyone knows who they are, of course.
Right. Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. And I know they don't really they don't really have to do that because the content is so valuable in their ecosystem and how they operate and how they function. So I know they don't really have to move there, but it just made me wonder when I saw that whether or not those things like that should be a consideration. I don't know. What's going on, Mike?
Hey, so I was just thinking about it, and another company I like a lot is Apple.
Yeah.
And Apple's kind of the same way now. They came out, they were the innovator. They came out with the iPhone. But then I think they take a stance that they've got the really great product and they kind of wait and see how things play out sometimes with other little technical things that are added on other phones.
Right.
Because, there are times that, Samsung's had this for 2 years now and finally Apple's getting it and all. But that hasn't slowed the popularity of Apple, I think, because of the quality. And I think there's something maybe to that with Peloton, too, with, they've got a strong quality already. They've got certainly the leader in the content. And so they can take a little more time, maybe. That's just kind of a comparison I was thinking of.
That's an interesting point that I had never really considered. Like you're right. I mean, and we've kind of seen Peloton operate in that way. Early on, I had this expectation of like, you're a first mover. Shouldn't you be the first mover with everything beyond that? And I guess it's kind of tough being first mover. Like everybody's like chasing you, and of course, you probably are going to see innovation and things kind of that are a little different coming from like people that are chasing you. And maybe that's not a bad thing if you've got like this leg up on them with content and you can just kind of see what bubbles to the top and then just kind of move towards that capability. Yeah, I never really thought about it like that. Maybe that makes sense. That's interesting. All right. I know we're running low on time, so I'm going to try to get one or two more in. The next one I had on the list was about Tonal having Tony Horton start doing like strength classes. I don't know how many people out here have Tonals. I don't barely know who. I know the name Tony Horton, but I don't really know him that well. It seemed like people were all ecstatic about him being on Tonal. But
he's huge.
Really?
Yeah, P90X. Everybody remember that?
Yeah, I remember the. Yeah, I know. Again, I didn't do P90X. Erica did, so maybe I should know his name. but yeah, I wasn't familiar enough to know whether or not having him on the Tonal platform really meant what it really meant.
I feel like it's a win, even though Tonal is already a pretty strong product.
Yeah,
having him on there is in my opinion, it's a win.
Okay. Well, they get a lot of like, don't they seem to, or is it just me? Don't they seem to get a lot of celebrity kind of either endorsements or support for their strength platform? It just seems like it's happening more and more,
He's been with Tonal for a minute though, right? Like this isn't new. I mean, this program is new. But he's been with the company for a while now, right?
Yeah, they said he put out like a program before, and I don't know when that came out, but this was like a follow-up to that program. This is like his second one, and it felt like to the folks in the Tonal community like it was like highly anticipated. But since I'm so unfamiliar with him, and I was kind of wondering like, is that
my Tonal doesn't come till this week, so I've got one on order that's being installed Thursday. But from people I've talked to in the community, they really liked his first program, and so they were very excited about the second one coming out. So
that's cool then. Hey Sonia, how's it going?
Good. Okay, so I am also doing the 20 on 20 Ignite. I'm almost done with his program. And he keeps it short. He makes it fun. You laugh at yourself. You laugh at him. And so before you know it, you're done with whichever muscle group you're working with. And I think that's why people gravitate towards that.
Well, I got a question about that. You can help. You can help me here. So I've heard like comparisons before from folks that are heavy into kind of the tonal aspect of strength training, and they would say, well, you can't really compare a Peloton class to a tonal class because it's so focused on strength, and strength is not the kind of thing where you're like dancing around with music. You're concentrating on reps, so it just doesn't. You're just not going to have that same type of vibe. So what I translated it into, I could be translating it wrong. Like when I would hear that, I'd translate that into, oh, I got you. So they're really focused. So the class may not be as fun, but it's not supposed to be because that's just not how strength works.
Right.
Right. And so, but when you talk about Tony Horton, it sounds like there's a new aspect to it that's different than the standard tonal strength class. Am I right about that? That it's just a little more entertaining or a little more fun?
I think his personality, yes. I think because of who he is, he's got his own followers or following. And he makes it a lot more interesting. And the other guys, I've taken maybe 2 or 3 other coaches programs, and they're just okay, and he the way Tony makes fun of himself, you laugh. You can't help but laugh at him, and so it makes it a lot more personable. And I think the fact that the machine itself automatically builds your intensity level without you changing the weight itself also helps, Right. And that's the difference between tonal and Peloton and their free weights.
Yeah, I was having a conversation as we were driving down to New York today to go to Courtney's birthday brunch. Yeah. I was having this conversation with Jasmine, and because she's getting into the strength now, and she was talking about, Dad, how do you know? Because you guys know me. I've been like all free weights all my life, and that I'm just hardcore, iron. And so she was asking me these questions like, how do you know when the increase in weight? Like, how do you know to measure? So then I was telling her like my kind of rudimentary way of doing it that has to do with reps, a certain number of reps in your first, second, and third set, and then a challenging set that I have an expectation of in my mind of how many reps I'm going to do, and on that, and if I do more than that, it's telling me that I need to adjust that. So then the next 2 days later or 3 days later, when I'm working that muscle group again, with each set, I now increase my expectation, and that's how I do like this rudimentary measure for incremental increase. Right. So I was kind of like explaining this to her. And so then she started asking questions like, she's like, okay, that makes sense. But how do you do that at Peloton? And that was a very good question. I'm like, I don't know if you can. Like, I don't think their classes are structured for that. Right.
I think with Peloton, basically you listen to your body and you just increase the weight depending on how you feel.
Right.
Right. And so that's the difference. I think it's not automatic. It's self.
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say. You decide which weights you're working with versus tonal. When once you take the initial setup, it knows your strength, and then it builds up ultimately depending on how many reps you do. It does it for you.
Right. And
I think any of the long form classes you can do that with on Peloton though.
Right. I guess you can.
I say it all the time, but like because they go a lot slower with the long form classes, and they really focus on how many reps you're getting. Like Jess will even tell you in some of hers, she's like, you shouldn't be getting more than 8 to 10 reps in this 45-second period. If you are, then you need to increase your weight because your weight is too light.
Right. So that
doing the 30 and 45 minutes, you definitely get that extra, focus on the weight.
Yeah, that theory that you just talked about, that Danielle, aligns to my 40-year theory. It's like she's saying to do that with the initial set, whereas I'm saying to do that as you've gotten past kind of those initial form establishment warm-up sets. And then as you get into like the third, maybe fourth set, that's where you're doing these assessments based on a predefined expectation in your head of where you are, and then you make those adjustments. So I guess like hearing what you're saying, I guess you could incorporate that stuff into a Peloton class. I guess, yeah, that makes sense.
And I feel like they expect you to take the longer form classes more than once, because Jess will say, and even Robin will say, if this is the third, fourth, or fifth time you're taking this class, then it's time to go for like the advanced move, or to up your weight, like, or make sure you've written down. Jess will say all the time, make sure you've written down how many reps you got in this AMRAP, or how much time you spent in the EMOM, so that when you come back and take this class, you can see how you've improved. So I kind of feel like they expect, at least those two, at least Robin and Jess, expect you to retake the same classes so you can have something to compare them to.
You know where that doesn't work for me? I'll explain. Because how you're performing has so many factors. It could be you didn't get a lot of rest that night. It could be you didn't hydrate as well as you thought you did the day before. It could be something about what you ate didn't agree with you. It could be you didn't get enough, electrolytes or protein or whatever. I'm just throwing it all. And so just because one day I could do one thing, the next day, you may be doing less just because of these millions of other factors that drive it, which is why I do a self-assessment with every session, right? Like, and my adjustments are based on how I'm doing or feeling that day. Right now, writing the stuff down, it makes sense. So you have you're tracking it and you can do your own analysis based on the stuff. But I don't use that as a basis for what I should pick up on another day. But I'm doing a self-assessment that day.
And I totally get that, because there are days when I'm like, I do like the bare minimum because I just don't freaking feel like it.
Right.
I've had enough of you, Jessica Robinsons, and this is what you're getting. I don't care if you think I should be heavier.
Right. That's me.
I totally get you on that.
Yeah, that's me.
I think the issue too is that it assumes that your workout for the week is sort of similar.
Right.
And with Peloton, it's just not. And so you have to, if I'm going to do that same 30 or 45 minute class with any of the strength instructors more than one time, it also, you sort of have to have some sort of structure to how the rest of your workouts for the week play out. And that's the part that I can't keep straight in my mind. It's
right.
Like, I might only intend to ride 4 times this week, but then there's something else that happens and I've rode 5 times. And so maybe I'm not going to do that strength class. It doesn't, for me, it just doesn't provide enough structure to what I should be doing.
I think that concept.
I think that's where Peloton fails, is that they don't give you that option for structure. And maybe it's coming with the guide, because I saw in my email when they sent me, it's coming, and it's going to show you what body parts you worked on and what body parts to work next for the rest of the week. So, we'll have to see what actually is released with the guide when it's finally released. But I definitely think that that's an area that they're lacking in, because you don't have that telling you, okay, you know what, Danielle, you did hit 3 times this week. Let's do a recovery. Or you worked upper body 4 times this week. Maybe you should try hitting lower body. Like, they don't do that. So I'm left to my own devices to do whatever I want.
Yeah, I think that was a miss.
That's a big area of miss for them.
I think that was a gap.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
Those are a lot of the things that I've struggled with too, and that's part of why I got the tonal is because of a lot of the things that you're talking about. And John, just to return to the whole thing with Tony Horton, is one of the things that I think that it's kind of like CVV, Christian Vanderveld, on when he's doing his rides. A lot of people are really excited to take his rides just because of the celebrity thing too, and I think there's some of that with Tony too for tonal. So I think
that makes sense. That makes sense. Hey, Charlotte, how's it going?
Unmute. Good. I just kind of wanted to chime in on the strength portion of Peloton. Also, I did do P90X with Tony. It was really hard.
Yeah.
With that early 2000s. But And he has a great comeback story too. I think he almost died.
Oh, really?
Something with his health. Yeah, he has a great. I don't quote me on that, but he had a big health struggle, and I remember he had to do it. He came back, and I'm real happy for him. If you have taken any of the strength programs, like a Rebecca Kennedy or even Andy Spears, who isn't really my favorite, I'm doing total strength with him right now.
Mm-hmm.
It is very structured. Actually, Rebecca, is she the strength director? I thought she was, but
I don't know.
Yeah, I've done. When they launch,
I think she is
the program.
I think she's a strength director.
She is the strength director, right?
I think so.
That's what I thought. And when they launch a new strength program, you guys probably know this. They do like a live, what have you, and you do a Q&A. And Rebecca, she really, if your focus is strength, you do very little anything else. Like she's like, oh, you're not riding a lot. You're not going to be running a lot. You know, your focus should be just on building strength.
Right.
It's really, she said, yeah, you can do a low impact ride or a recovery run or, so if you, for those 4 weeks, and they do repeat, like, I can't remember who was saying, but yeah, you're supposed to be building your reps and by the end your weight. And I followed it. I'm a cardio addict, so it was hard for me, but I still did my boot camps and my power zone rides, and I'm not a runner, but I did, my power walks and stuff on the tread, still did a lot of that, but I did follow her program and I did feel stronger.
That's awesome.
So I was able to pick up heavier weights and things of that nature. So they do have under the programs portion, and one of the strength instructors, I think every month released another strength program to follow for 4 weeks.
Gotcha. And I guess people love. I hear such good things about Andy Spears' program and the stuff I'm constantly hearing good stuff about that stuff. So I don't know that my question is really about, the value in that content or whether or not they have, a good program. I think it's clear that, people love that stuff. It's awesome. I guess my answer, to Jasmine's question of how I've done it for 40 years is too much. It's probably been the past 33 years or so. Doesn't it's a self-assessment with every workout. It's actually built into every one of my workouts, a self-assessment to establish what the expectation is and whether or not I've grown from the last session. And that's just been my established way to do it. Doesn't mean it's right. It's just been my established way to do it. And I'm not clear on how you do that or how it's taught to determine growth, given all the many factors from a strength perspective with Peloton. I'm just not clear how they do it. And I don't know that writing down numbers accounts for all of the variables in how you may feel day to day without a daily self-assessment. So I'm wondering about that. Now, from a tonal perspective, that all goes out the window because they're covering it for you. So as soon as if you're pulling something and it knows you can, it gives you, a harder weight and you can't do it, and it kind of gives you, spotter, and it's doing it for you. So you just innately get it. But from Peloton program perspective, I'm still a little lost as to whether or not they have that aspect built in some way in how they're teaching it, or I don't know. Right? I'm wondering.
Think they are, John. I said they tell you to write it down and they do this, they do that, which is great. But I think like you said, they don't actually really have it built in. And I know for myself, from working out for years with a personal trainer and having my own personal trainer certification, I know when something is too easy for myself.
Right.
Like I know that I'm phoning this in. Like, really, Danielle, you're gonna use tens? Like, really? Like, like this is what we're doing today? So, I kind of know, but I do think you're right. I think that they need to do a better job of, for people who aren't necessarily as familiar with weights or who aren't as comfortable with weights, to help them to understand when they should go up in weight or when they should, hit a certain number of reps. And while it's great that Jess and Robin both, and like I said, I only speak to Jess and Robin because they're the two I lift with the most. So I don't know what Andy does, and I'm not sure what Rebecca does. So I don't want to say they don't do it.
Right.
So while it's great that they tell you should only be able to get 8 to 10 reps in a 45 seconds, it would be really helpful, I think, if they had a better way of explaining it and leading people through the knowledge that you've acquired over the last 30 plus years of lifting, and the knowledge that I've acquired from working out with other trainers, and they're basically just telling me stop being a baby and lift heavier weights.
Right. So, it seems too limiting. How I'm assuming, but yeah, I hear you. I'm not really sure. Anyway, I know we're about out of time, but I just wanted to try to get this one last item in, and that is we were questioning last week why all these instructors were in London. And I still don't think we have the answer to that, but we at least have the answer to why one of the instructors was in London. And that is, we found out Ali Love is going to be the host of some Netflix show called Dance 100. It sounds like, help me if I get this wrong, it's going to be 8 choreographers, I think, and they're going to be responsible for choreographing dance programs, and each week somebody's getting voted off, and then it culminates in one person winning weeks later. Did I get that right? Something like that, right? And so
it's instead of the dancers on So You Think You Can Dance, they're trying to win the first place or whatever. This show is the choreographers' chance to win, and so they've got, apparently I read an article where they've got the best dancers all around, and then these choreographers have to choreograph different things.
Right. So I got 2 questions about this. One, does this sound interesting and intriguing, and are people excited about this? And 2, how we were talking about when are we going to see? I mean, weeks and weeks ago we were talking about when are we going to see the first move of a Peloton instructor that takes them into another level of stardom beyond just what they can get from the Peloton platform. And I kind of thought, that just happened with. I kind of thought that just happened with Cody with Dancing with the Stars, but now I don't think it did. So I'm going now, maybe not. But will this be that? So what are your thoughts? And do you think this is that launching point for the first instructor that goes beyond this realm?
I think it definitely is, for sure. I mean, with this, I mean, she can go anywhere. She can go anywhere now, and she can make doing it. It's a situation where sometimes we say what they do to make more money than well, TV's the way to do it. So I think we did.
But wasn't Robin on Masterclass? Didn't Robin being on Masterclass, didn't that take her into a whole nother level too?
Did it? I mean, I don't know.
I don't think so. No? Okay.
No. I just personally.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt anybody. I saw today, right before this Clubhouse room started, Jess King in a commercial for I think it was Pantene shampoo, and it said on the description of who she was that she's a Peloton instructor and dancer. So that was really interesting. So she's going famous too, I guess.
But I mean, think about it in these terms. Remember Jillian Michaels, and she was on The Biggest Loser, and I mean, I didn't really know anything about who Jillian Michaels was before that. And then she's on The Biggest Loser, and she just blows up. And then she leaves The Biggest Loser, but she's still global, well-known superstar, writing books. Everybody, you might see her anywhere. I'm thinking in those terms. I don't know. Have the Peloton instructors gotten there, or do you think they have I wasn't sure if they had. Like, I was thinking maybe Ally Love now hosting this show just innately takes her to another level of celebrity.
I mean, I kind of feel like Allie's at another level of celebrity anyway, and maybe it's just because she's my BFF. I don't know. Maybe I'm biased, but I mean, I kind of feel like she's one of those like Peloton instructors where the celebrities frequently will tag in their post that they're riding with her. So I kind of felt like she was already on another level, and maybe it's just me.
Your cousin's the same way, John. Nephew, sorry.
Yeah, I think they are. I think they definitely are, like, you know, have transcended like just the Peloton thing, because as you can see Peloton, you know, as it handles and traverses struggles, it does not change the opportunities that you see from the instructors. Like, they're you still see them in commercials, and you still seeing them, like, you know, writing books and all kinds of stuff still happening. So I get you guys. I'm with you guys that, yeah, they've taken it to a different place, far beyond Peloton. I get that. I'm like with you there. But is hosting a show, I don't know what the levels of celebrity are. You know, yeah, be A, B, C. I don't know what the level. Does this, like, all of a sudden take Ally to an additional level, like somewhere else?
And does it matter that it's Netflix and not like ABC or NBC?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I don't know. That could be. For the network TV, that might be a whole nother thing. You're right.
John, let me just add this. We shouldn't forget that Ally already has a hosting background.
Yep.
So this, I think, is natural for her. I mean, all the other instructors, we don't see them hosting shows or programs or the Brooklyn Nets.
Right.
So this comes naturally to her. And so
yeah, I
think this is where she's going to shine the most, you know, among other things.
Yes.
Compared to the other instructors.
I agree. Like, I know she's hosted the Brooklyn Nets. I know she's done like hosting opportunities on the red carpet with BET. I know she's done those things. They've all been things that are not really aired. Like you might have to be at the Brooklyn Nets game to see Ally, or you might catch a glimpse of her for a second at a game, but it wasn't really aired. Or like the BET stuff, like you had to go online to view it. It wasn't really televised on national TV. It wasn't like that. Like, her skill set was there, but it wasn't, you never saw it like presented in this way. Like, I feel like this is different. She is the host of a show that's on Netflix. So people on their television, you see Ally and only Ally presenting. This is a different thing.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Right.
Really good point.
I feel like that's what I was saying, that this is going to put her out there, so she's going to be offered so many more things that are out there. I mean, I feel like this is an opportunity for her to leave Peloton. I kind of thought that maybe that was the path we were on. I just assumed, I don't know, because I'm always worried about the instructors leaving Peloton. So as opposed to Cody doing Dancing with the Stars, I feel like this is like major.
That's what I feel like.
I feel like she could leave Peloton for this.
I feel like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
They make really decent money working for Peloton. And when you looked at other instructors like Steve Little, who left, who was going to do this other, web thing, never really made it again. So I think that, the instructors themselves might be pretty, Peloton makes them famous.
And that's
leaving it.
You're hitting right where my question is, Shelley. I'm feeling as though, at a certain point, I think you reach a certain level of celebrity and opportunity that your platform, the platform that has been provided for you based on some employer, no longer is the greater portion affecting your celebrity. Like it is you now. And so that, and that's where I'm starting to think like this Netflix thing, that might transition this. It might be a different thing. Ally Love might be something different after this. You're right. Where
if they make really good money at Peloton, and Peloton is willing to work with them to allow them to still do what they want to do and be away from Peloton, why would they leave?
Right.
Because you can literally have your cake and eat it too. Right. So like if she's going to be gone for 6 to 7 weeks and pop back here and there to, teach a class live, I think is what she said she's going to do, is she'll be on the bike off and on.
Right.
And she's dropping coach to camera content.
Right.
And she's still able to like expand into this Netflix world. Why wouldn't you keep both?
Right.
I mean, that's my thought process.
I agree.
Because maybe she might get something that's way more permanent now. That would be so lucrative that she just has no choice. I mean, it's like, yeah, I'm going to do this thing. So that's just where I was thinking, like, she doesn't, like John said, it's almost like she's been catapulted. So now, she could be doing other stuff, and, maybe there wouldn't be enough time for Peloton.
Well, it's still risky.
I mean, maybe, but she's a proclaimed workaholic. Like, she will tell you that she loves to work and she loves being busy. She said it numerous times. So I just kind of feel like if she can continue to do everything that she wants to do that's bringing her joy and expanding her brand, I don't really see her giving up anything.
Yeah, and just
once it makes her unhappy or is no longer a point of joy maybe, or doesn't work, then I'll see her leaving. But I think as long as she can make it work, I think she'll keep working her 8 million jobs.
Yep.
And you know what? I tell her all the time, I'm like, you're the female version of Ryan Seacrest right now. Like,
it's good for Peloton too, because people see, oh, they like her, she's a Peloton instructor, maybe I should get a Peloton. And that's why Peloton works with, all of those people. It's great advertising for them. And Cody took classes every week, except when he was sick, when he was on Dancing with the Stars.
Right. Go ahead.
Out of a showroom, she could do it out of the London studio.
Yep.
She could be the next Jillian Michaels if this is a Biggest Loser type of contest.
Except Jillian Michaels gave drugs to the people, fat-burning supplements. That's why she had her fall from grace.
The thing about this scenario that we're talking about here, I know you guys have kind of driven it into like the thought of her leaving. That really wasn't my thought about her leaving or not. I was just my question was just more of, did she just ascend to something that's different from the other instructors?
I think she did.
Yeah, I think
Alice won the NBA, celebrity MVP.
Right.
All these trainers are doing other things. Why can't Ally?
Absolutely. I agree with you, Sonia. I'm starting to think maybe she did. Like we'll see as the show starts to roll and we start hearing more about it. But I think she might have. Like I agree with you. Yeah. Cool. I took you guys longer again. Each week I just take you guys longer. My apologies. But I appreciate you guys coming out and hanging out with us and having this conversation. Hey, did you have something else, Shelley?
No, I just wanted to say thank you guys for doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. I enjoy it every week. I think we all kind of enjoy it. I don't know, Tammy or Danielle, if you guys had anything, stop me. You guys know you can. Stop me.
Nope. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I hope everyone has a fantastic week.
Thank you all. Yeah, thank you guys. I don't have anything extra. I know next week we'll have to talk about Selena's wedding because it was literally blowing up in the chat. People like, as of right now, she's married.
Right? That's right. I forgot about Selena's wedding. We're going to have to talk about that next week because I want to hear more about it. I know she kind of... I didn't hear a lot of the details leading up to it. So now I want to start, kind of hear a little more about it. So we'll throw it on the agenda for next week. Cool. All right, guys. I appreciate it.
We can talk about our brunch next week, too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. We got to talk about
so many people.
all the pictures and all the people we saw and all that stuff. I'll add that for next week as well. Cool. It was great seeing you guys. Great talking to you guys as always. If I don't see you on the bike or on the tread during the week, hopefully you guys will show back up and we can talk again next Saturday. All right?
everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.